Hold on.
And then it ended like a minute earlier too.
No.
Oh,
No.
We're saving
That
invoice
was
for the
nice.
morning show.
Yeah.
No. Oh, those 20 seconds, those were all ours.
We had to eat a couple extra innings for him.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome back. It's your midday hang, and we are in full fine fettle. Annie and Elsten here together, reunited once again, ready to bring you 4 hours of live local San Diego sports talk on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Annie Halpern's here. I'm Craig Elsten. There's Braden Semprena. We are united in our Odyssey studios overlooking Murphy Canyon. We roll till 2 o'clock today. Gwen and Chris will then take up the watch from 2 to 6. Scraby from 6 to 7, and Sam Levitt will be there from 7 to 9 with Inside San Diego Baseball, which means we'll all be on pins and needles in each of our assigned shifts until and unless the Roki bomb drops.
Hopefully
Roki-
Sam breaks the news.
Yeah. Roki needs to sign. My man, just pick a team here. Let's move forward. Let's everybody put this behind us, one way or another. You got him or you don't. Please, do this for all of us.
Do it for one.
So every day we don't have to get on the radio and again, or fans just wondering, right? Like, where is he going to land? I feel like, just pick. Let's go, Roki. I know you know. I believe Roki knows. I believe Roki's known for a long time. Who knows if that's true or not, but in my heart of hearts, I think Roki knows where he wants to go.
Seeing all the rumors from random people. Well, my son goes to school here, and his buddy works for the Rays, and he said, well, it looks like you're going to get your guy. I don't know what that means, but maybe. It's like, I'm tired of those.
Yeah, I am done with it, too. And listen, doesn't mean we won't engage in it between here and 2 o'clock because we're on the watch. We get it. We understand the assignment. We're all waiting for Roki. We're all hoping. A little bit later in the show, we'll provide you an hour from now, maybe some hopium. But who knows? I mean, any time. It could be any time. It could be now. It could be then. It's that Jeff Passan set your notification type day where you're waiting for that ding. And then you go, oh, okay, oh. Or more likely, and I think most likely is nothing happens today.
Yeah, if they're going to go on the whole notion of what his agent talked about, what Joel Wolf talked about, that it wouldn't be today, I guess, that it wouldn't be right away. Maybe they're going to honor that just because they already said it, But I hope it's not the 23rd either. I hope we can find a 72-hour window here where he can announce it.
Well, based on everything we know and just resetting it, and we'll reset it, we'll walk away from it, we'll come back to it. That's just the nature of something like this, right? I would just describe us as all being in the waiting room right now. Yeah. That's where we are. We're in the waiting room. You know what it feels like when you're in the waiting room. You're waiting for your name to be called. Sometimes you've got a thing up on the wall that tells you your order, but more often than not,
the DMV.
Yeah, more often than not, you've just got a magazine. You're like, do I really want to read Reader's Digest? Well, what's in there? Let's take a look. This is a 8-year-old People magazine. Well, still new news to me. I didn't know all this stuff. What is going on with Brangelina? So that's where we are right now. We're waiting, and we're going to have plenty of other contact. In fact, we've got a really cool show lined up for you here today on Annie and Elsten. But with that, we're in the waiting room. We're all waiting. We're all looking. We're all wondering. At any point, this show could be derailed. Or
yeah, absolutely. It could happen in our show. It could happen in the next show. Like you said, it could happen tomorrow, the next day. So I think everybody's waiting for those notifications to start dinging on their phone. And I think if you took bets, I think it's going to be Jeff Passan that's going to have it. But who knows, right? It could be a local beat reporter for whatever team it is. Who knows who it's going to be. But yeah, those notifications will start going hot and heavy. Make sure you don't get fooled, though. Don't get fooled by those fake ones.
Yeah.
Those are out there.
Oh, see, yeah, you have to be careful in your curation these days on social media. And even when you think sometimes one will sneak past you. So that's why we always kind of hesitate and contemplate before we bring it up when we see it on social media. Now, we heard Braden's take from Tableside yesterday, but Annie, welcome back. Salute to champions, rearview mirror now. How does it feel? You had the day debrief. How do you think it went?
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good event. You know, every year you kind of don't know what it's going to be like with the attendees, with the speeches, with the honorees. But this year's class was just so awesome. And the Hall of Famers were so nice. Sade Houston, Adrian Gonzalez, and Jake Peavy just took so much time with fans and with guests and had these amazing speeches that they gave that were really heartfelt, really nice. Jake Peavy stayed like an extra hour and a half after it ended, just talking to people, just people coming up to him and telling stories and wanting pictures and autographs. There were these two, I call them kids, but they're really not. They're in the sports MBA program at San Diego State University, where they had like 15 volunteers at the event who are all fantastic. But these two gentlemen who have collected all of Peavy's gloves over the years. And so he was like reminiscing on his gloves. They have an account for them or something. And, you know, kind of which teams each glove was with and how they got the glove and all that. So that was a lot of fun to just kind of hear them talking about it. But no, a lot of inspirational stories. There's a challenged athlete every year, Derek Loxodent, who was this year's recipient, who lost his leg. He was playing football in college, and then in a freak accident lost his leg in a train accident, and ended up going and being a Paralympian in Paris with track and field and the high jump, and his speech was just incredible. We have an Alex Smith Courage in Sports Award, and the woman, Brooklyn Burns from Torrey Pines High School, who went through cancer treatment and then went on to now plays for Cal Poly San Luis Obispo volleyball. So, you know, just really cool stories, and it's a really cool event because all the teams are together, all the schools are together, everyone's kind of celebrating each other, and just instead of just kind of being in your silo of celebrating your own personal team or personal school. So it's just a lot of fun to see everyone. But yeah, thanks for, you know, tolerating the absence. But it's a big event and a lot of moving parts to it, and good to get the whole sports community together.
Well, likewise for last weekend. It's our new time-honored tradition. We just start the year with Annie or Elsten, and then sometime
January's a little tough, I'm not gonna lie. But the good thing is yeah, by the time the season starts, you know, you're locked in.
Yeah. So now we're Annie and Elsten,
Yes.
and here we go, rolling forward. Now, absolutely cool. In fact, you know, we'll do it a little bit later in the baseball hour, but Braden was reminding of Jake telling the story about the 22-inning game.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you
Hilarious.
told it, Braden. And by the way, Braden was on stage with Brock Ungrich
Yes.
and the USD baseball team, and they gave like the most beautiful speech as well. And then Brock forgot to thank his wife. And like, so Paul Rudy was the MC. He came back on, the MC came back on, and Brock then came back on stage to take over the microphone again and thank his wife and all the wives in the room.
Yeah.
Was like apparently afraid he was going to get in trouble
Yes.
if he did not do that.
Well, he was getting some heat from the rest of the coaches and the players. They're like, 2-5, you're in trouble. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's right. Forgot my wife. And
forgot
then he
his
ran out
wife.
there.
Never forget to thank
No,
your wife,
that should've been
okay?
number one.
Giant.
2-5.
Giant mistake.
And, you know, we honored Ethan Hamilton, and so his wife, Andrea, and their two kids, Eli and Lily. So Ethan, if you don't know, passed away last year, was diagnosed with cancer, and then passed away later that week. It was really, really sudden. The athletic director at Point Loma Nazarene, and they went on stage and just made the most beautiful speeches and honoring Ethan and his legacy. So it was good to have that moment in the program as well, where we remembered Ethan Hamilton. But yeah, Jake was telling the story of how they had the 22 inning?
22
I remember that
inning.
game too, against the Rockies, and there was no Manfred Man at the time. There was no one on second man. That was
Nothing
when
like
pitchers
it.
were hitting still, and how they would go, not the players who were on the field, but the other players would go and take shots or pound beers in between every inning.
Shotgunning some beers
Yes.
for a 2020 game.
And he had everyone rolling. I mean, and that was a different time too. I don't know that.
I don't think
I'm
they do
sure
that anymore.
things
It's such
go
a different
on.
time.
I don't want to say never goes on, but that was a different time.
Well, I'll tell you what, not only was I there, I was there in the press box. I kept score.
Oh, how do you
I
have?
kept
You found
score.
it? You
Where
went
do
and grabbed
keep
it?
these scorecards?
Well, I'll tell you exactly. This one, and there's only two. I only have two. But, and there's honestly others maybe in the garage or something, maybe. But this one I brought home that night because I knew it was going to be a night, like a unique night in my life, in my baseball life,
Yes.
being at a 22-inning game. And that night, literally that night, I folded it neatly and I put it at the bottom of one of our clothes drawers. like underneath like the jeans and the sweats and such.
Now, I feel like I would have done that, but then over the years, I would have been like, oh, let me just throw this one away. And you haven't.
It has survived a couple of purge attempts,
Yes.
maybe within the house,
Yeah.
where it was like, what's this doing here? Why is it here? The answer, it was waiting for this day. It was waiting for this moment.
Bring a scorecard in. You got to send one out, like the T-shirts.
Exactly.
Craig, what are you doing with this scorecard? You still need this one? If you can't save the no-hitter one without getting rid of someone else.
Right.
Some other scorecard.
Yeah, literally the other one that's in there, and I had forgotten that I kept it, was Lincecum's no-hitter at Petco Park. I was there for that one, and I think it's the only scorecard I have of a game I was at that was a no-hitter.
What I love about that one too is so I get the book. I have a book. What is the guy's name?
Oh yeah,
Bob Carpenter.
Carpenter's
Thank you.
book.
I got
I have
those
the
too for
scoreboard.
play-by-play.
Scorecard. God, scorecard book, and but I tend to just use those. I tend to just grab the one in the press box.
Yeah.
Unless when I was broadcasting more, I would use the book. But like, and the fact that it's just a press box Padres scoreboard.
Well, it's literally
scorecard
two.
one is great.
I had to go and get a second one because I ran out of room.
Oh, that's great.
I
So you taped them
completely-
together.
Yeah. I got to 18 innings on the first one.
It was
and then I ran out
2
of room.
a.m. when that game ended. It was something
absolutely.
like that. Yeah.
It was. We'll get into it in the 11 a.m. hour because when you said it was a different time, just open. This is the beauty and why I think keeping score is awesome and stuff like this. Why I'm such a baseball nerd. Like, why would I keep something like this? It's because I open it up and it's like a historical document.
Yeah.
And literally 2008 is so different from 2025 in Major League Baseball. It's only 17 years.
Yeah.
It's not that long. It's 17 years. In 17 years, pitching has changed entirely.
Mm-hmm.
Entirely. So we'll talk about all that as the show continues. Like I said, we got a fun show coming up, including at the bottom of the hour, we are going live to Lyon, France, to welcome in the captain of the U.S. women's national team, the 14th woman ever to wear the armband. Lindsay Horan will join us in advance of the She Believes Cup, when the U.S. women's team will be here February 26th playing Japan, traditionally one of the toughest teams that the United States ever faces, Japan. We will speak to Lindsay Horan live from France coming up at 10:35. Of course, she got married to the sporting director of San Diego FC, Tyler Heaps, over the course of this winter, but she plays professionally overseas as opposed to playing in the NWSL. We've got all sorts of things to catch up with Lindsay Horan. Really excited to welcome her onto the show at 10:35. I'd say, maybe the biggest guest we've ever had, the U.S. captain. I mean, you only get to wear the armband. Not so many people in the world, in the history of the world, wear the armband.
And they won gold.
Led them to gold at the Olympics. And it was Lindsay who was the captain of that team. So we'll talk to her about all of that. Again, 11 a.m., a lot of baseball. 12 o'clock Sports Fix coming up. Today we play the match game. Match game is back on Silly Games. We will assemble the All-Star Celebrity Panel, and we will have some fun coming up around 12:40 later today. Ask Us Anything to wrap up the show. And when we come back, Braden was courtside for the Aztecs win over Colorado State. We'll talk about it after this quick timeout. Underway with Annie and Elsten on The Fan. Craig Elsten here for Underdog, the best place to cash in on all of your takes, whether it's for the NFL playoffs, NBA, or any other sport you can think of. And California now has Underdog available to play in the Golden State. I was just on Underdog yesterday. Every day they've got new and creative ways that you can find action and make great plays, essentially picking on various players in various sports. Are they going to go higher or lower on categories like, for example, in the NBA, points or rebounds, assists, turnovers, three-pointers made. In the NFL, passing yards, interceptions, rushing touchdowns for a quarterback. Whatever you're looking for, you can tailor a play. Just yesterday, I was on there. They had a cool NBA game where you just flipped card to card. Hey, is this guy going to score 20? This guy going to score 20? This guy going to score 20? I picked out 7 dudes. Bink. Binked that thing for about $70. Nice little win on a very small play. Lot of fun. You can find the play that's right for you on Underdog. It's the best place to play daily fantasy sports and pick 'em. Download the app, sign up with promo code Craig, that's my name, C-R-A-I-G, and deposit now to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. That's promo code Craig. Must be 18 plus, present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. Welcome back, Andy and Elsten, 1019 on the Fan. Rolling with you. We got Lindsay Horan live from France at the bottom of the hour. In fact, Braden was just trying to test the system to make sure it could do the France thing. There's a system.
You have to say the numbers like a Frenchman.
Oui.
Oh, oui.
I would like to call the Lyon.
Well, with a French last name, I think I'm the best for the job here.
I think you are.
I watched, it is the most ridiculous show, but I watched it over the break, which is Emily in Paris. And you partly watch it just because they're in Paris.
Yeah.
And so, you get to see all the different things. But yeah, if you ever want to watch a ridiculous show, but that is like the easiest watch ever, Emily in Paris. And it shows you all of France.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, all right. In this segment, before we take a break to get to Lindsay in France, instead of Emily in Paris, it's Lindsay in Lyon.
Yes.
Which is alliterative, at least. So
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
works, yeah.
Yeah, that could be
Yeah,
season
our own
2.
show. Right. Yeah, exactly. Season 4 now. They're on season 4.
That's a spinoff then.
Yeah,
Lindsay
exactly.
and-
Catch up then.
Lindsay and Lyon. Let's talk Aztecs. The game 75-60 victory over Colorado State. Pretty classic stuff. Miles Bird had a not-so-classic game, an amazing game. He stole 7 balls, had 25 points, 6 rebounds, just a stat stuffer, fantasy basketball superstar.
Pretty awesome dunk last night, too.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Dunks, deep threes, hit 5 threes as well, right?
Yeah.
Bird had some beautiful shots.
Yeah, he was on fire.
Yeah.
But here's what got me excited. Braden had courtside seats.
Yes.
Big time Braden.
VIP over there.
That's
Courtside
right.
Seats.
Friend of somebody that had big time seats. That's the difference.
Now, when you have courtside seats, is it like the Lexus? Do you get like food and drink?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least at the Aztecs, you drove in, and those courtside seats come with a parking spot
Okay.
in that that garage, the big one that everybody has to deal with, and like they got a cone out in front with your name on it.
Oh.
So it had Sam's name on there, and you park and you walk in, and I mean that guy's the mayor of Viejas. He knows
Sushi Sam.
he knew Sushi
Yeah.
Sam knew everybody there, all the security members, the ticket people. All the patrons. I mean, he knew everybody at Viejas. But you walk in, it was in the, like where the media entrance is for Viejas Arena for the you
Yes.
guys. All right, so like on the left side when you're walking in from the garage, on the right side is where all like the courtside people sit, or like they enter, and then underneath the arena over by the Aztec locker room, they have like a room, I guess, that has like all the food and the drink. That's free. So they had a bunch of like Cutwater drinks there, like you would see at any other stadium, right? And like they have AleSmith beers. That's obviously the deal. They had food catered. It was some Mediterranean place. It was pretty good.
Nice.
So they had like the food and the drink before, and then you just kind of cruise out to the court. Now they cram a bunch of seats in there, so it's definitely when you're sitting there, like you can't like move too much. You're locked into your seat. There's not a lot of wiggling around in those seats, but pretty great place to watch any type of basketball game. So
I mean, that's like
was
where
awesome.
Joe Musgrove and Mike Schilt sit
Yes.
when they have courtside seats, So, I mean, you're amongst the VIPs.
Yeah, a lot of the names on the seats were like people we know from different entities, right? Like with the Padres and everything else like that. But I remember we walked into the director, whatever it's called, the directors club or something, I don't know, something
Yeah.
like that. You get your little wristband and stuff.
The fancy
and you got to
people's
walk by
place.
the Aztec locker room, and like Sam knew all the guys on the team. So he like popped into the locker room and like
Oh,
he dapped
God.
up Miles Bird, like he was like his boy, like they were just friends.
Where's the security, man?
It's Sam. I mean, when you go in there and the guy that has a career night is boys with your friend, you just kind of let him do his thing. So Miles Bird's like, "What's up, Sam? How you doing?" And then we're walking the hallway, and Agueca Rope's walking down. He's like, "Sammy!" And then he gives him a high five, and then he shakes my hand. I'm like, "Oh, look, it's Agueca Rope. That's kind of cool, I guess." So. Like
That's
I said, he knows
hilarious.
everybody there.
Yeah.
Like pregame warm-ups, like he's hyping up Miles Bird, and Miles Bird's like looking at him. It was like a movie. It was like it was his agent or something.
Wow.
It was insane. And then like we're sitting there at the game. Jamal Franklin was at the game last night.
Right.
And they honored Jamal Franklin. Before they honored Jamal Franklin, he walked up to Sam and was like, "What's up? How you doing? How you been?" I was like, "Wow, what is this?"
I mean, you've known Sam a long time, and even you didn't know.
Yeah,
how
right. I mean, I knew he was very
big
much
time Sam
involved
was,
with
right.
the Aztecs, but like he used to work for the basketball team back in 2020, 2019, and like he was roommates with like Yanni Wetzel and those guys. So like, I don't know. I feel like when you're a part of the program, it's a lot, and you're there all the time, it's a lot easier to be ingrained with
Yeah.
everything. But he was like, "This is my environment." And I was like, "Okay, cool."
He's in his element.
Yeah, he was in his element. You gotta let him do his thing.
Yeah. I've always wanted to sit courtside, though. I think, have you ever done that? I think courtside would be awesome. I mean, even for an
Yeah.
NBA game, I think it'd be so much fun.
I've done it announcing. I've never done
Right.
it as a
Yeah.
fan.
Yeah, I mean, my vantage point from the Aztec game last night was the exact same vantage point I have for every USD game.
Yeah.
Calling games, but like sitting there and watching it
Yeah.
is so different than like actually having to work
Right.
the
Oh, it
event
truly
and you're
is.
calling the game and you got all your stuff. Like, so I was across from like, Ted Leitner was on the other side doing the game, and then the TV crew was next to them, and then I was like, I looked at the Colorado State guys where I sat literally a month ago when USD was there, but to watch it as a fan was just a way cooler experience. They got like in seat service. You wanted that, but you had to pay for that, which I did not do.
Shocker.
I was like, I'm not
Shocker
going to
for
do
you.
that. I'm going to do the free stuff at halftime. And then at halftime, they opened it back up. They had like cookies and stuff. And then they had like, instead of waiting in line for the bar, they had all the drinks poured and like laid out like it was like a
Dang.
sampler. You're like, grab and go.
All right.
That's the
But
way
it was
to do
pretty
it.
good. So the Aztecs definitely take care of their patrons down there. I got to see one of my dad's high school buddies. His parents have been boosters of the Aztecs for a long time, so I got to see them, which was super cool. And then my Sam's parents went to the game using his grandparents' seats, which are like in the same spot on the other side, and they brought they're friends with my mom's high school friend. So then I saw them. It was kind of cool running into a bunch of people that I knew. And then on the way out, I wore my TCU hat. I got to rep the Frogs always, even though I had my Aztec sweatshirt on. I got to go Frogs. And then I had an Annie and Elsten fan that yelled down, "Braden, what's like?" and just like, "Love the show," whatever. And then that kind of that flipped the script on Sam a little bit.
There you go.
It was no longer his arena.
It's not
at that
just
point.
you.
Yeah, that's right. So
Now, Annie, when he was first telling this story during a break, I did not compute Sushi Sam. I thought it was Sammy Levitt.
no.
Just in the story.
I feel like he would say Sam Levitt.
Right, well, I know, but it was just Sam, and then Sammy and Sam, and like, oh, Sam goes in and daps him up, and then I'm thinking to myself, that's really not that far-fetched. Like, it's not inconceivable that 8 of the kids on the Aztec team used Sammy's TikTok audio,
yeah,
the
sure.
last 3 years,
Absolutely.
and they're like, oh, it's Sam, oh, Sammy, Sam, and I was just like, damn, Sam Levitt.
That's what you got.
have
I
No,
know.
we
moved
call
up in
if
life.
you're not in the chat, if you're not in the YouTube chat.
I actually just went with Craig's dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Dog is actually just
Yeah,
super
yeah.
Aztec
He would dap
basketball.
everyone up a little differently than he would.
There's a Sam in the YouTube chat who is Sushi Sam, and the reason we call him Sushi Sam is because he takes his dates
His
to
first dates
sushi
to
restaurants.
sushi.
But now I'm like, why don't you just take him to an Aztec game, Sam?
yeah.
You're gonna look like
I guess she's got to earn that spot.
pretty desirable, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
he's got a long list of buddies that want to go. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's
Amazing.
true.
But once they get to that level, they're never gonna leave. It was a great night at the Aztec game. Plus, they kicked ass. Miles Bird was really
Yeah.
good. But it was a fun experience. So it was big thanks to Sam for letting me tag along last night.
No, that's really cool. And sitting courtside is definitely on my bucket list for a basketball game in general. But
Yeah.
I love this stat. The Aztecs are now 35-4 in the last 39 games. In the last 39 games, immediately following a loss, they're 37-1 in the last 38 games. When the next game after a loss is at Viejas Arena.
Yeah.
That was in the Union Tribune
Team
this
bounce
morning.
back.
Yeah, like it's clockwork. You can almost book it every time they come back to Viejas Arena. They're going to win, following a loss, especially.
Yes, and they beat the teams they're supposed to beat. They have been so good, and I'll knock for Mike as I say it, but they have been so good at taking care of, as Mark Ziegler wrote about, the quad 3
Yes.
games, the lesser ranked teams. Don't let one of them scare you. The Aztecs do it again. It's almost like metronome, like just repetitive, and so you kind of glaze past it and go, oh yeah, well, another Aztecs win. But they do something that a lot of programs don't, which is they just take care of business. They don't let a loss become a losing streak. And in particular, they defend their home court. And even more in particular, they beat the teams they're supposed to beat. And you do that, and guess what? You go to the tournament like all the time. It's super fun. Let's take a break. It's 10:29. We're going out to France to talk to the captain of the U.S. women's national team, Lindsay Horan, after this on Annie and Elsten here on The Fan. 10:33 on the Fan. Welcome back, everybody. Annie and Elsten here with you on a beautiful Wednesday in America's finest city. Really excited to have on our next guest. She and the U.S. women's national team will be appearing here in San Diego February 26th in the final doubleheader night of the She Believes Cup, taking on Japan at Snapdragon Stadium at 7:35. For all we know, it'll be the match that'll decide the whole thing. It's more likely than not that it will be an incredible doubleheader night of soccer. Tickets are available at ussoccer.com for the She Believes Cup. We go out to Lyon, France, and we are joined by the 14th woman to wear the captain's armband for the U.S. women's national team. Lindsay Horan is our guest on Annie and Elsten. Lindsay, Craig Elsten, Annie Halbron here. Really appreciate you taking a few minutes to join us from all the way in France. Appreciate you.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
Well, let's get into it. I wanted to start right there. You're one of so few people in history to be able to say, I am the captain of the U.S. women's national team. What does that mean personally to you when you reflect upon it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a huge honor. I think every time I step out to the field, walking out with the team, and about to sing the national anthem, it's one of those moments that you sit and reflect back to when you were a little girl, dreaming of moments like this, not only just playing for the national team, but, being captain is like nothing else. So, huge honor. I'm obviously so grateful, and whatever I can do to help the team.
Lindsay, your Olympic coach, Emma Hayes, she talked after you guys won the gold about how much you do off the field, your conversations with teammates, speaking up when you need to. You had to make hard decisions about how you guys spent time preparing and how you spent time in Paris during the Olympics. She said you were firm but fair. What does that mean to you to get the gold in Paris, especially playing there for so long and having the relationship that you do with the city and with France? How do you look at all the hard work that went into it and reflect on all that you achieved?
Yeah, it's crazy. We keep winning things in France, so I really like it here. But yeah, I think it's obviously, it was a huge accomplishment for our team. Getting back on that podium and winning a gold medal, since it had been a few cycles since that had been done. But I think more so just because how the team came together. Obviously, it was a difficult year, not completely having all the pieces together, waiting for Emma to arrive and having her doing things behind the scenes. But then, she steps foot in our environment, and the things that she did and the things that we did as a team, to put ourselves in the best position possible to go out and win that thing. I think that's what, is the most important thing to take away. Our team really came together and did everything for each other. So, remarkable, journey and experience for all of us.
Yeah, and when you speak about the journey, Lindsay, there were so many remarkable matches that came down to classical moments, and I think American fans found out about the Trident and about what you guys can do with that forward line, and how dynamic it is, how creative and spectacular it can be in moments that require bravery, that require getting in there. What do you think this team proved to itself by going through the journey you did and finding results the way you did? Yeah,
I think one, this is what we kept saying throughout the entire tournament, and even beforehand, was just trusting the process and enjoying the journey along the way. I think we knew that not everything was going to be perfect, not the way that we play, not the things that we did. But, what were the things that we can control? What were the little things that we could get done in the minimum amount of time we had to prepare, for each game? And also, most professionals say this, but taking each game at a time. I think we weren't too forward thinking in terms of later on in the tournament. As we were preparing the first game, we're thinking about the first game. We're not thinking about anything else. And I think that was really great. I think there were a lot of team talks, and there was a lot of individual stuff that we did to put ourselves in the best place possible to to go out and win, but also enjoy it at the same time. And I think, we speak about some of the best players in the world, and some of my teammates are up there, and how, they spoke about the journey, that they actually enjoyed it, including myself. I think it's hard. Like a tournament setting is really, really hard. And a lot of the time it's not the most enjoyable thing, as many people probably don't know, but I can say firsthand that it was a very enjoyable experience.
Yeah, it's really cool that you get to look back now and think of it as an enjoyable experience and as something that was fun, because like you said, not every athlete gets to do that after achieving something so great. I have to ask you about this, Lindsay. Now, you will be coming to San Diego for the She Believes Cup in February, and I think this will be the first time you're reuniting with your husband, Tyler Heaps, who's the sporting director at SDFC, since you guys got married in December of 2024. And when I was reading about your wedding, you had a bride versus groom soccer match the day, I don't know if it was the day before you got married. Okay, I need to know everything. I mean, how did you pick your team? Were they all teammates? Who won? What was it? What were the stakes? Everything that went on with that is where I want to go.
Well, as you guys probably all know, I obviously won. We had a couple of professional athletes come out and play. A local indoor facility allowed us to come in, and I think we had a good 20, 25 people out there, which was really cool. Some amateurs as well, but including Tyler. No, I'm kidding. He was okay, but we called it the Ferguson Footy Derby. That's my dog, and we got jerseys and everything made by Adidas. We made it as professional as possible. And we did a snake draft, so I got the first overall pick. I don't know if I'm allowed to say.
Fair.
And we went along like that. So it was really cool. But if anyone knows me well, football was going to be involved in this wedding. So as it was.
That's fantastic.
We're talking to the captain of the U.S. women's national team, Lindsay Horan, here, Annie and Elsten on The Fan. And, Lindsay, you're a trailblazer in your career. You had an opportunity to go scholarship to college to a top program. You instead decided to go sign in France and play at PSG. You spent 6 years in NWSL. You went back. Now you're with Olympique Lyon. You're there now. You're killing it. Team's in first. You're doing great, amazing season. Kind of a simple question. What do you love and enjoy about living and playing in France?
Honestly, it's a lot of it is football related for me. I think, I know our careers are short. They seem long at points, but they are short, and I want to make the most of it. And that means, being the best player that I can be, and I want to be challenged as much as possible. So, when I was making my decision to come back, I looked at the caliber of players that are here and who I would be playing with and training with every single day. And I think that's what really drew me to it. That's what continues to keep me so happy, is I love the environment and the culture here, surrounded by football. And again, I obviously like my life outside. I'm a very independent person. I think it was nice last year because I had my husband with me, but he's left me for San Diego to be with you guys. But that's okay, because he's doing big, great things there, and I can't wait to be the biggest San Diego FC supporter.
That's great. That is going to be a lot of fun. And the She Believes Cup, for anyone who doesn't know about it, Lindsay, how competitive does that get? What kind of tournament is that? And you guys are facing Japan, which is typically a very tough opponent. So what are you looking ahead to there?
Yeah, I think anytime that we host the She Believes, it's obviously it's very important for us to bring these kind of opponents that you see coming to this one coming up. And it's been like that, for the course of the years that we've held the She Believes Cup. So it's actually become a very, competitive tournament, which is something that, we might not get this summer because we don't have the Euros like the European teams. So having competitions like this and playing against opponents like this is crucial for us in our development. And, for these next years leading up to the next World Cup, it's exactly what we need. And like you said, we're playing Japan, and in San Diego. So for anyone in San Diego, this will be a really tough matchup. They're such a quality side and gave us some big problems during the Olympics and have some really bright and shining players there. So it's going to be such an exciting game and a cool place to play it.
Now, Lindsay, you have some history at Snapdragon Stadium, including last March 10th, and I watched it back again today. Just a gorgeous header in the run of play. Late in the first half, I believe it was at the start of stoppage time, which was the goal in a 1-0 win over Brazil. So certainly some more experiences here. I know it was pretty rainy here one time the U.S. women's team came. But what are your thoughts on just good vibes coming back to San Diego?
Yeah, let's just hope it's not raining like that again. Let's hope more for the Gold Cup, the final game. Yeah, but really good vibes. Obviously, I think San Diego's a great place to play, and I think the atmosphere and the fan base there is really cool. So I hope that we can bring a great home crowd and hopefully sell out. And I guess that's my ask of the U.S. fans is we need to keep raising the bar for that and help us, because we can have a 12th man out there helping us win.
Well, when you get the San Diego Wave FC fans behind you, you're going to have a packed house. And it's the last thing I'll ask you before we let you go. We appreciate so much of your time, but I have to ask on behalf of all of our great San Diego fans. Tyler's here. We've got a lovely professional club here.
It's great weather here. I don't know if you know.
Almost all the time. I know that one day. Please ignore that one day. It's almost always beautiful here. I mean, I'm not. Leon is wonderful, but I mean, maybe someday.
Maybe someday. I have nothing to give away at this point because I still have a contract here, but it's obviously very intriguing at points, being my husband there and obviously the fan base and such a beautiful place to play and live. So it's not completely out of the question in the future, but I'm very content here right now.
Totally understand.
Had to make the pitch.
Yeah, not going to put the cart in front of the horse.
Sorry to disappoint.
No. It's a mustard seed of hope. Lindsay, you plant and then you see, can something grow over time?
Exactly.
But no, we appreciate you so much. Thank you for your generosity. Can't wait to see Team USA in action. I get the chance often to be announcing the international soccer at Snapdragon, and it's always such a thrill to see the women's team come through, and it's a thrill for us to get the chance to chat with you. Best of luck in the rest of the season in Leon, and we look forward to seeing you here in San Diego.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Lindsay Horan joining us.
Yeah, that was fun.
We've now had both sides of the couple on Annie and Elsten. We've had Tyler Heaps. Now we've had
I'd like to see the
Lindsay
two of
Horan.
them play some board games or something.
Yes.
Who's the competitive juices seem like they're flowing in that family. So I love that, though. She had a bride versus groom soccer game the day before they got married. So all the guests got to come watch, and they had jerseys, like she said. And how much fun is that?
And did you hear? They played it on an indoor field.
Yeah,
They played it on an indoor field. Lindsay, listen, we could take this another step further. The Sockers are right there in Oceanside. Consider breaking ground. You've been a trailblazer your whole career. Consider breaking even further ground. You never know. Well, incredible stuff there, and truly a privilege to get a chance to chat up Lindsay Horan. Thank you to Rick Schloss for helping set that up on behalf of She Believes Cup. And again, it's going to be 3. This is the one wild thing. You're going to see a rotated lineup for sure at some point. Probably not Japan. You'll probably see full squad for Japan. But the U.S. will be in Houston on the 20th. Then they'll be in Arizona on the 23rd. And then they come to San Diego. So it's game, day, game. Just like wild in terms of, getting 3 games in the course of 7 days. But we'll be there for what's likely the deciding match, the final match of the doubleheaders, and U.S., Japan, probably the top 2 teams. Colombia's in there as well. There's some great talent coming through. But if you want to get tickets, ussoccer.com. You can get tickets, and let's pack Snapdragon Stadium and see what happens.
Always good to get out there, too. I mean, this is like February. You said February, right?
Yeah. Okay,
so yeah, I mean, you got spring training going on. You don't have any Padres games quite yet at Petco. You've got some SDSU basketball and, of course, USD and UCSD. But get outside, right, and go catch some soccer.
Well, SDFC will be opening on the 23rd up at Galaxy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean,
SDFC's opening February 23rd?
Yeah.
Wow.
At Galaxy. Yeah, and then March 1st, home opener and then we're underway.
Yeah.
Full squad training, day 3 today down at Singing Hills. I'll go check the Twitter. Usually every day they've had a new signing. So
Yeah, trying to round out that roster, right?
yeah. Oh, I mean, everything is accelerating, Annie. It's really exciting. You've got, Wave making changes, absolutely. Real shame. We talked about it on yesterday's show, seeing Jaden Shaw leave. She wanted to, though, so, obviously you respect a player's wishes. It's good to see the NWSL be a players' league. I think it was interesting to hear what Lindsay had to say in terms of she feels right now that in the old, iron sharpens iron situation, that she's getting tougher training and tougher competition playing in France at the top level. She did play 6 years in NWSL, so she knows of which she speaks, of course. But I just find that to be very interesting because NWSL wants to be number 1 in the world. And to be there, you need Lindsay Horan's and
You
the like.
need players like that to believe that that is where they should be to, get to their highest potential, right? And if they're not thinking that and they're looking elsewhere, that means you still have some work to do. It sounds like
You still have a little bit of work to do, but there's a contract, and then maybe at the end of the contract, maybe. I mean, I'm seeing the pieces come together here for Lindsay Horan to become a hometown hero in San Diego, and wouldn't that be cool? And then we'll be like, hey, do you remember when we interviewed her like 3 years back, and now all of a sudden here she is, like the centerpiece, the face of San Diego soccer? That would be pretty dang cool. Were it to take place. All right, Lindsay Horan, that was fun. If you missed any of it, we'll replay it back in the 1 o'clock hour as well, because you don't get a chance to talk to the captain all that often. We'll be transitioning into baseball in the second hour, and let's just make sure, right, we've got all the notifications set. Nothing's fired.
I just looked. I do not see anything, and I will tell you, you troublemakers in the chat, sometimes they like to put little comments in there, like sources say Roki's coming to San Diego.
Oh, it's over.
Not today, guys. Not until he signs. All right. So let's just go with what the national or the local beat reporters are reporting. But I haven't seen anything. It doesn't sound like anything's happening. I do think it's interesting because this is when the international trade window or the international signings and trade window is open, right? So you can make moves right now to try to get that 60% more money if you want to into your pool that you could then offer Roki or use for whatever you're going to use it. And we have seen some people being signed from teams that are out of contention for Roki Sasaki. So that is happening. But overall, what a weird class. If this is your class and you're looking to sign into Major League Baseball, it's being interrupted by the Roki news, at least in some part, because things aren't going quite as normal as they typically do, just as everybody awaits the signing.
What a weird class. What a weird offseason. Why isn't anybody signing? I mean, like Justin Verlander signs and we go like, woo, 42-year-old guy signs a 1-year deal, and we get excited because nothing's been happening in the baseball market. We thought the Soto signing would be the beginning of pushing a ball downhill. Yeah. And that it would start to pick up. No, it's like it was just a rock moving an inch. It was like no movement since then.
And I do think it's just the nature of Major League Baseball's free agency and how they do it. There's no deadline to spur any kind of movement. There's just kind of like off the record deadlines, waiting for someone else to move or waiting for something else to happen before a flood of signings or trades come. Because when you don't have a deadline and you don't have a cap and you don't have a floor and you don't have any of this stuff, it just sort of floats into the abyss for as long as it needs to. And that's kind of where we're at.
It is. Well, here's what's coming up in the next hour after our break. We are going to bring you, take it for what you want, okay? Take it for what you want. But there's been plenty of videos that we could play you where somebody harumps and goes, well, I think it's L.A. I think it's always been L.A. I think it'll always be L.A. I've got one that goes the other way. I've got one that goes
for Roki?
Uh-huh.
Oh, boy.
We're calling it Hopium for Roki.
Oh, God.
We're gonna have some hopium in the 11 a.m. hour. We've got 3 different clips that we can bring you, including what's going on with Ha-Seong Kim, which is nothing, same as everyone else.
You do wonder, I do wonder at least, with the Ha-Seong Kims, although to me it just really doesn't make sense to bring him. I not that I wouldn't want him in San Diego, but Well, I guess it depends on like what is AJ Preller going to do? Is he going to keep Luis Ariz? Is everybody staying where they are? But we'll get into all that. But you wonder, as the longer things go on, does there become more chance of bringing people back, like a Jurickson Profar?
Yeah.
Because the longer things, or is it just, like I said, you're going to see someone move, and then you're going to hear a lot more about what teams are interested in so-and-so player. But usually when things drag on, there begins to get a little bit more desperation on both sides to make things happen.
And eventually that desperation will come to a head, because one of the only things that's been put out there is days for pitchers and catchers to report, February 12th for San Diego. Days for full team squad to report, February 17th for San Diego to report at Peoria. So, at some point you got to put a team together. But remember, we got to those dates last year and nothing had happened. Other than Jurickson Profar, nothing had happened.
For $1 million last year.
Yeah. Profar for $1 million.
Right.
Wandy Peralta. And that was it.
Bought an
going to
All-Star
spring
for $1
training.
million.
Yeah.
Sure did.
Yeah.
Smart play. Is that store still open?
Yeah, I hope so.
All-Star for $1 million? Is it really Mike Brasso? Is it Tyler Wade?
Only if he gets a Star Wars jersey.
I can't wait to get it. So when we come back, a little bit of hopium for Roki, looking at how the Padres can make space for things, baseball's free agent market, and a tour of a 17-year-old now, almost 17-year-old. Score sheet shows you how time flies. We'll get to all of that. The baseball hour of Annie and Elsten is ahead. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Stay with us all the way till 2. Baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fans presented by T-Mobile. Head to T-Mobile.com and get a great deal on an iPhone 16 Pro. You can do it. Get it done. What's going on over there?
Brayden,
fell.
did the whole system just drop or what happened?
My Apple device fell.
Oh,
off the
his
thing.
Apple device.
My
Never mind.
Apple device.
I thought it was something
Phone
more.
fell. Didn't crack though because the outer
Substantial.
box is great.
Yeah. Got to have that casing. Appreciate you.
These phones are more durable now. I don't see as many people dropping and breaking. Like remember, like when the iPhone first came out.
Oh, yeah.
You look at like, it's over,
I did
dude.
it.
Don't even turn the phone over.
Slightest drop to, and then you just see crack right across.
Remember, you would see people. I don't as much now, but I would have friends that their entire screen would be like a spider web of cracks, and they'd still be using their phone. I'm like, how do you see anything?
Because they don't want to spend the $50 to get it fixed at the stand in the strip mall.
No kidding. No kidding. I still haven't caved to get the boy his phone yet.
Don't need to. There's no rush for that.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't know if it was witting or unwitting, but my wife presented a roadblock because she just bought this book called The Anxious Generation, which is all about the impact that personal devices have had on children in James's generation.
Is he reading it or are you guys?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, once I'm done.
Some light reading for him.
And if you want to know why you don't have it yet, here you go. Please enjoy. So, yeah, it's probably confirmation bias because that's already how I feel. But so far, I'm a few pages in and agreeing with everything I've read. So we'll find out. We'll find out.
The phone might wait to next year, the year after.
Listen, he's still asking almost every day. So the funny thing is, he's got all that cash he collected from Christmas, and like over the weekend, he was like, I can just give you the box with the money. And I mean, yeah, but you don't have to. You don't have to give me the box with the money. I'm not going to run out right now if you give me the box with the money. You can hang on to it. I'll let you know. Probably I'll come home with the thing and then say, give me the money.
Yeah.
That's really how it's going to go. But that's my life, and it's neither here nor there. We're here to talk baseball in the 11 a.m. hour. It's usually how we go. And we're in the waiting room. I'll say it again. And until 2, it's Annie and Brayden and I. It's our turn to be in the waiting room.
Now, I did see in the chat someone suggest, have you considered bringing in a psychic? And I think this is a good idea. I mean, we might as well at this point just bring in a psychic to say, where is Roki Sasaki going?
Yeah. I'm sure for $200 they'd be very, very happy to give us that.
It's as scientific as our speculation.
It pretty much is, yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. Nobody knows. He knows.
Nobody knows.
And we're guessing he knows. I would have never thought that he would sign today because that would kind of be an insult to at least one of the teams he just visited.
Probably.
Could you imagine if he just spent all of yesterday being wined and dined by Ohtani and Friedman and Walter and everyone else in L.A., which is where he supposedly was yesterday. And then, like, the next morning, he's like, psych, I'm signing with Toronto. No chance. He's going to go back to Japan, ruminate, contemplate.
So is he going to announce in Japan or is he going to announce in the States and have a press conference shortly after? Or
I think it could be both. He could announce in Japan and then fly over and have the press conference. Will he announce on Instagram? Will it be
with that picture of him in a uniform?
Right. Will it be an IG post?
See, I do think, and I wish, I don't know if we'll ever get this honesty from him. No, nor like, as in, I don't mean that he's a liar. I mean, like, it's his personal business and he doesn't have to ever say. And it probably would be insulting to all the teams that he listened to their pitch if he did end up saying, I've known I'm going here, or this has been my favorite team since a year ago, or since I decided I was going to leave Japan, but I do wonder, has he known this whole time? You know what I mean? And he kind of just made sure and maybe did the whole song and dance to just hear everybody out and make sure he's making the right decision and make sure he's not rushing into anything. But is he ultimately going to go with the team that he has thought about and known about for maybe months or even a year now?
Could be. It could be 4 years.
We just don't know. Well, we may never
years.
know. Yeah, he could have known for 4 years.
That picture of him wearing a Padres cap was like 2021, if I remember right. It was a long time ago that they had that pic of him in Padres gear. I told you I had some hopium for you. Let's go ahead and open it up. It's the top link in our 11 a.m. rundown, Brayden. as earlier this morning on MLB Network, the iWash Network Central that we usually have on in here. In fact, I'm shocked we don't. We'll probably fix that at some point in the next few minutes. But on MLB Network, on the morning show, they had on former Mets GM Steve Phillips and asked him to do a sort of ranked choice prediction in terms of who was most likely to land Roki to who would be least likely to land Roki. And here's what he had to say. Now.
Blue Jays at this hour. Which of the three need him most? Good morning.
Well, good morning. Yeah, I think the Blue Jays need him the most. I mean, it's been a really tough run for the last couple of years. They need something to go in their favor. I mean, they went to the $700 million on Ohtani last year. He chose to go to L.A. They were in on Juan Soto at close to $700 million. He ends up going to the Mets. They're in on Corbin Burns and had the most money on the table, and he chose to go to Arizona. And so they're in on everybody and can't get anybody to say yes. This would be a coup. This would be a surprise, right? We all thought Dodgers, Padres, West Coast, Mariners maybe, Mets, Yankees, for the Blue Jays to get in. And look, I think it's a statement for the Blue Jays. Ross Atkins, Mark Shapiro, they're making an impression on the other players. The fact that Ohtani considered Toronto, the fact that Sasaki's brought them into the final, but they really need to get this done to try to save this offseason, which has been a huge disappointment so far.
One most likely, three least likely that he'll go. What would you rank him right now?
Yeah, I think San Diego for me would be the main one. I think you got Darvish there. It's not Los Angeles, little less market presence where, you know, Joe Wolf indicated he had some run-ins with the media a little bit, some tough times in Japan. San Diego's sort of the softer, gentler landing spot. Yeah, and so A.J. Preller speaking Japanese, I think is a fit there too. So I would probably go San Diego, then Toronto as a sleeper, and then the Dodgers. I think that being the third Japanese pitcher with the Dodgers, where he's going to have to make some of that money off the field in sponsorship deals and marketing, I think he has less impact with two other Japanese pitcher, Ohtani leading the way, than he would in San Diego or in Toronto, where he could dominate the country with his brand.
I actually completely agree with that very last point.
I'm sorry.
The very last point was from a off the field, maximize your marketing dollar aspect, being the third most important Japanese player on the Dodgers is less marketable than either being the guy in San Diego or literally the country's guy in Canada if he signed in Toronto.
Yeah, I do think that I have seen it both ways, though, that there's also been talk about how the Dodgers are so good at maximizing the partnerships with Japan and the international money that they have gotten it down to a science, essentially. Like their department has been very, very good. And of course you have Ohtani. So it's, I mean, how hard could it be?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
wow, shockingly, everyone wants to work with us. We must be great.
Right. But they've got those partnerships. Now, you know, Yu Darvish also does. I mean, the Padres put up a different backdrop for every interview Yu Darvish does because his interviews are sponsored by a Japanese business or company. So it does exist within other teams. I do think the Padres need him, quote unquote, need him the most. I mean, in terms of wanting a player who can add so much value at such a low cost, the Padres are in that boat of that could really be beneficial to this team. I understand the Toronto argument too, though. They've been in on everyone and they've like lost everyone. I don't know that he's going to go to Toronto, but it is interesting that they're still in the mix. I read an article from The Athletic yesterday. It was really good. I would tell everybody to go read it. Is
this the one about Sasaki's youth?
Yes, it was.
Me too. I read it too.
Stephen Nesbitt, and he talked about the tsunami that affected everybody, obviously, in Japan. And Roki Sasaki, it was a deadly, deadly tsunami. And Sasaki lost his dad and his grandparents at a very young age, 8 years old, in this tsunami, and how it's kind of shaped his decision making and kind of how he looks at coming to Major League Baseball now instead of waiting a few years and getting a big contract because he's more in, you know, kind of marches to the beat of his own drum after suffering the losses that he did at a young age, and didn't go to the private school that you hear about so much with Ohtani, the amazing baseball programs that are in these private schools that you hear so many Japanese players going to and coming out of. And also that he didn't pitch, it sounds like, in this really big, important high school tournament that everybody tries to get to in Japan, and how that was held against him, like as if he hurt the team because the team manager was more focused on protecting his arm instead of having the team advance in this tournament. And so, I mean, there's just so much there. And it also kind of talked about how he's frowned upon in Japan for coming to the States now because he hasn't achieved like what Ohtani achieved or what a lot of players in Japan achieve. And that's, they look at that, like he hasn't won the awards that other players who come to the States have won. He was injured last year. He didn't have a great season last year. His numbers aren't at the level that other players have had when they come to the States. So I just think it's so fascinating how there is this whole, obviously a culture in Japan, but this whole microscope on players like Roki Sasaki and a judgment whether they deserve to go ahead and go to the United States now or to go play in Major League Baseball, or a lot of them who feel like, no, you haven't done enough for our country.
Right. And we haven't gotten enough from you yet.
Yes.
We're supposed to get the best of you, and then you can go make your millions, but we deserve this much. This is what we expect. I just want to add a little context to that story that you went through, because I think the context is really, really important. It's called, let's see, hang on, it's a paragraph up. Koshin. It's this gigantic, like nationally acclaimed high school tournament. And the abuse that 17 and 18-year-old arms take within this tournament is truly beyond belief. It's as literally abusive behavior as you could imagine in the world of baseball. So what Annie said is exactly right.
No, I'm glad you're adding that context.
Sasaki did not pitch in the championship game for his tiny seaside high school that would never otherwise be there. It's like taking, the high school in Hoosiers and getting it to the state championship, right? Like this incredible moment for that area. He didn't pitch. Here's the thing. Roki Sasaki, in an 8-day span, threw 435 pitches. He threw a 194 pitch complete game. Then he came back just a couple days later and threw 129 pitches to get his team to the final, which was the next day. And him not pitching that game is why he's taken so much in Japan.
He's taken real heat. I mean, as a high schooler, to take real heat for that after throwing as much as he did is wild. And I'm glad you added that context. That's really important. And Shoda in the chat says it's Koshian, but he says it's like March Madness for high school baseball. But this article has a quote from Yu Darvish. So it says, Yu Darvish, another pitcher who had risked his arm and made his name in Koshian, disagreed with the fact that there should be this kind of judgment on Roki Sasaki and said, quote, for a pitcher who is in the national spotlight as much as he is, it was a courageous stand to protect his future. So, yeah, sounds like just a really a wild kind of, turn of events there in terms of how these kids get judged and looked at and seen, and how also he was such a good pitcher. I mean, he had an arm that everybody noticed and nobody could hit. Just a devastating throw, So it goes a lot into that and what makes him so good on the mound. But you can kind of understand now for him, like what he's been going through trying to make this decision to leave Japan and come to the States, and now for this other decision, which is probably going to be also heavily judged, whatever team he chooses.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's going to go with the one that he really truly feels. He seems like a man who makes his own decisions.
Well, I mean, if you have the context of a kid whose arm was put into a meat grinder and then he felt years of heat for not doing the single most abusive thing that you could possibly do, then, maybe the franchise of Tommy Lasorda and 5,000 blown elbows might not be the number one desired destination for a guy as opposed to a team that is very cautious with the arms that it has.
And this thought that, at least this article projects this thought that maybe he wouldn't get the $300 million deal in a few years that everybody expects him to get. And they use this criticism. They say the criticism that Sasaki has not earned the right to walk away early. They say by 23, Ohtani had won hardware and a Japan Series title. Sasaki has not. He did not pitch particularly well last season. He missed time with shoulder fatigue as his velocity and stuff dipped. He has not yet pitched a full NPB season, won a title, or contended for a Sawamura Award.
Cy Young Award, basically, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The Japanese equivalent to the Cy Young. However, he is the best pitcher in the world that is not in Major League Baseball right now.
Right.
And everybody agrees on that. So the potential for him is so high. I think he needs to go to a team that can help him become more dependable. And that's not a knock on him. I mean, look at the numbers you just talked about for the 400 pitches and everything like that. I think that he just hasn't had the ability to shape that in his life. I think he wants that. Go to a team where he can really kind of get his body to be able to match what his arm can do and keep him dependable on the mound. I think that's going to help him a lot in his development.
Well, we missed our first out window, Braden, so let's go ahead and head for the second, which means we can play this John Morosi clip right before we go to break. And this, we talked about this, Braden and I talked about this yesterday. You guys probably talked about it last week. But here is what you can look for before we get out of the waiting room and Roki signs. There's at least a thought of what could happen in between, and that's trading for pool money. Here's John Paul Morosi on MLB Network about that. Now. Almost now.
Where do we stand right now?
Lauren, we are in the zone where we can certainly find out about Roki Sasaki's choice on where he's going to begin his Major League career. Now, we know the three teams. We saw the inspired pitches from Matt and Harold during the A block, which I thought were riveting and very true to life. But what I'll say about today is this. Pay very close attention as you hear signings start to happen around Major League Baseball or potentially trades, because remember, the finalists for Sasaki can begin to acquire additional international signing bonus pool allocations by trade. This is one piece of the MLB CBA that's really relevant today, that you can trade, whether it's players for signing bonus capacity or additional allocations here and there. Pay close attention today to see which teams are signing players and which teams are trading for additional bandwidth, because those are the three finalists. There was a report yesterday from The Athletic, Ken Rosenthal, Fabian Ardaya reporting yesterday that the Dodgers with their players were having the additional meeting with Roki Sasaki, and we'll see how that final sales pitch comes to be. I would say this too, Lauren. I'm really intrigued by the way in which all three of these teams, whether it's Mark Pryor with the Dodgers, Ruben Niebla with the Padres, Pete Walker with the Blue Jays, the pitching coaches, I believe they are the closers here to have the communication with Roki Sasaki and his agent about how they can help him reach his full potential over the next 6 years to then eventually sign his Ohtani-like contract many years into the future by achieving his top potential as a major league pitching star.
Good stuff there, I think, from John Paul Morosi. And if it indeed is true that the pitching coaches will be the closers, we got Ruben, baby.
Ruben likes to drink coffee. Coffee's for closers.
I do think it's a little funny, and this is not a knock on AJ Preller, because it's awesome that he learned some Japanese and he did it with Ohtani, and I'm sure he's doing it a little bit now. But you do realize Dave Roberts is Japanese American.
Yeah,
I mean,
so it's not.
Other teams also have, I guess.
Andrew Friedman probably could download Duolingo too.
Probably do a little
Babel,
bit, yeah. I don't think it's going to be the deciding factor, but as a matter of respect for Roki Sasaki, I'm sure he appreciates, people going to the length of learning a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I do love that, but it's kind of like some people have said to me, like, oh, no, Craig's fluent in Spanish. I'm like, I am not fluent in Spanish.
Yeah. The other thing, and we could do it also after the break. I know we got to go to break, whatever team does sign him can promise him an extension or can promise him at some point, or at least act like they're promising him.
Right.
We'll give you a lot of money in 2 or 3 years, and I think that can be a selling point. the other thing also is that, there's talk about whether the ownership group struggle for the Padres and the lawsuits will affect this. And I saw a report, I can't remember who it was right now, but saying, well, they can put qualifiers into his contract. Like if ownership changes.
Kraz had that, yeah.
Kraz had it, thank you. Tom Krasovic in the Union Tribune. Maybe they can put qualifiers into this contract because he has a lot of leverage that if the ownership group changes or there's something that whatever he decides, he can then sign with another team. I don't know that you're getting to that point if you're Roki Sasaki where you're doing that, but there are options is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and again, this isn't a kid that's looking for the bottom dollar.
True.
So I've been seeing that in the chat a whole bunch
He
once
could
we
just
talked
wait.
about it.
Right.
But if his whole goal was to make the most money, he wouldn't be posted now. So it's not about like, oh, well, it'll be decided because the Dodgers will promise him a gigantic contract extension 1 year from now. No, that ain't it. If that was it, he would have just waited 2 years, and then he would have gotten all the money, way more than you would get in a rookie year contract extension. I'll tell you that. Way more than you would have gotten in a rookie year contract extension. We must break. When we come back, revisiting the 22-inning game from 2008. Next on The Fan. All right, football fans, listen up. Need that extra edge for game day? Then you need to cash the ticket. Numbers, angles, more. The podcast for football junkies. New episodes every Thursday and Friday. Mike Valenti and Jim Costa breaking down the biggest matchups, finding the best value on the board every single week. Cash the Ticket's the podcast to help you bet smarter on both pro and college games. Follow Cash the Ticket on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, we did a long Roki segment, Annie. Mm-hmm. This will be a shorter segment as a result. So I figured, hey, why not? Braden and I talked about it based on Jake Peavy's story.
Such a great story.
At Saluda Champions.
We got to bring in that audio. We have the audio. We'll
do?
We'll
You
do it
have
for
it?
Peavy and Gonzalez. Yeah, so people can hear their speeches.
The Peavy speech was phenomenal.
I would love to do that. We can play that tomorrow.
Yeah,
Why
exactly.
not? Let's play it tomorrow while we're in the waiting room.
That's right.
No time like the present.
I feel like we're in Beetlejuice waiting for like the death book and everything. You're sitting there,
man.
like looking around. Oh, what happened to that guy's head? I don't know.
So the story that Jake Peavy told, paraphrasing, is that he pitched in the longest game in San Diego Padres history. He was the starter in that game, and that as the game went along, apparently a Padre tradition at the time, was that the players who were out of the game, right, like the pitchers who were out of the game, the position players who had subbed out of the game, when they got to extra innings, they would run down to the clubhouse and have a rally beer in between innings, like, you know, how you do the shotgun where you poke the hole and then you pop it, and right? Like,
or Adrian apparently did tequila shots.
Which is a way stronger move. Like,
and Peavy
quite
said
bold.
he was just curled up at the end of the game on the training table, just not having it.
Yeah, it's not, you need the Manfred Man to do rally shots. Rally beers made sense, but I was at that game. I'll never forget it. And as I said yesterday, I saved the score sheet because I was just working those games for a radio station across the street at the time as a reporter, you know, just like you have been a reporter. Man, I was just a reporter there. But I always keep score. Especially in a press box, I always keep score at a game. Even looking at this made me think I want to get one of those little score. They've got the little mini ones that you can put in your pocket.
Yeah.
I might get one for just all the games I go to this year.
Yeah, I can't watch without keeping score now.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Sometimes I won't do it the whole game, but I got to start at least.
So it's always a story. It's a little tapestry of its own, right? I had to take two of the score sheets and tape them together, scotch tape them in the back of the press box that day. There you see the old Padres wave logo there if you're taking a look. For the Padres and the Rockies, April 17th, 2008, 25,984 in attendance. Tens of thousands more swear they were there. And here's the fun thing about it. It was an incredible pitcher's duel. Jake Peavy faced the Canadian lefty, Jeff Francis. Might remember him. He was really good at the end of the 2000s. And Francis went 7 shutout innings, and Jake went 8 shutout innings. 4 hits, 3 walks, 11 strikeouts. Trevor came in from there, slammed the door in the 9th, but no one scored. It was zeros through 13 innings of this game. And it wasn't until the 14th inning that Colorado scored. They scored when we brought in a Rule 5 kid named Kevin Cameron in the 14th inning, and he
in relation to Cam Cameron.
I don't think
former
so.
Chargers
I don't
offensive
think so.
coordinator.
But he gave up a leadoff single. There was a sack, and then an intentional walk, and then a walk, and then another walk, and they walked in a run for 1-0. Bottom of the 14th, down 1-0. Kevin Kuzmanoff singles to lead off. Major League Players Association President Tony Clark.
Oh, wow.
Tony Clark played that game?
He started
He was in
and
that game?
He went the distance in that game. Adrian pinch hit one time and was gone, like in the 8th inning.
That's
Hence,
right,
he
he
was
said-
part of the Rally
That's-
Bears.
Adrian had the day off that day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like one of the only times he had the day off.
Yeah, he pinch hit in the 11th and flew out. Theoretically, then started taking shots in the 12th.
Now, at any point, either of these teams, especially after the first scored the run, could be like, let's just mail it in, man. Like,
Right.
let's not even try anymore. Like, let them have this. Neither one of these teams is going to the World Series. I think it's so funny. Steven in the chat says, my experience at the 22-inning game, I was 20 years old working at the Marriott Marquis. I had 2 coworkers from Germany here for 1 year on a visa. They really wanted to experience a Padres baseball game.
Oh,
It was
no.
that game. He said they were good sports and stayed the whole time, but then they wouldn't go back to another baseball game. And I do think that. I mean, you
That's
know,
great.
once you experience that, oh man, that's hilarious.
Here's something I had completely forgotten, but I found in my own box score, which is that in the bottom of the 13th, still 0-0, Paul McAnulty led off with a double.
Paul Mack.
And then Buddy pinch hit with Randy Wolf.
Oh,
Remember Randy Wolf, left-handed pitcher, but he
Yes.
was a pretty good stick. Like, he was a
Yes.
decent stick. And Randy Wolf singled to left. And McAnulty got gunned at the dish.
Oh, no.
could have ended then, but no.
It could have been Randy Wolf, the hero, 1-0 in 13. Instead, it was 1-0 in the 14th when Josh Bard came up with the RBI single to tie it. And then the next guy up was McAnulty, and he hit a ground ball to short, and they threw out the next guy at the plate. So 2 guys out at the plate for San Diego in the 13th and the 14th. They got double play happy at the end of the game. And in the 22nd inning,
It's like 2 a.m. at this point.
yeah, in the it was.
One?
I wrote it down.
Oh, did you?
1:21 is when the game
Because I
ended.
remember they still did a post-game show.
Yeah, I know.
For
Till
everybody
2.
that was up.
Yes.
Till 2. 1:21 the game ended. Unfortunately, the Padres lost because Khalil Green made a throwing error to lead off the 22nd, and that
it.
runner stole second, and then Troy Tulowitzki doubled him in. But the names in this,
So good.
We got shut out by Kip Wells for 4 innings from the 19th to the 22nd inning. The Padres had 2 innings from Heath Bell, 2 innings from Joe Thatcher, then 5 innings from Will
Thatcher.
Ledesma. I forgot Will Ledesma was ever a Padre. He threw 5 shutout innings, and it was Glendon Rush who gave up the unearned run in his 3rd inning of relief.
And then you know how they talk about, well, what do you do the next day? You've used your entire pen. You've
Yeah.
used every position player you can. At that time, there wasn't the rule. You know, you use whoever you can. I think it's funny to think about Bud Black because he gets asked about this game and he's like, that's baseball.
Yeah.
22 innings.
Oh, here's
What
my
are you
last
gonna
little
do?
fun fact. Batting second and going 0 for 7 with 2 walks that night was a man who would later be Roki Sasaki's manager, Tadahito Iguchi.
No way.
Yeah.
Maybe he's
Tadaguchi-
telling him about this 22-inning game.
He's like, listen, they fixed the ballpark back then. But back then
That's
it was
right.
great for pitching. It really was great for pitching. So yeah, how about that? Tadahito Iguchi, future Sasaki manager, was the second baseman that day for the Padres.
See, I commend you on your scorecard because it would have gone so many scratch outs and so much, good idea to just paste or
Yeah.
tape the other one to it.
Yeah.
Because that would have just been a mess if you would have just tried to make little boxes underneath or something.
Yeah,
or-
well, they've always got on the right side of a little place where you can like tabulate it at
Yeah.
bats. So those all turned into innings for me. So those became the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th. And then I used this little margin on the first score sheet, cut it in half, and that was the 17th and the 18th.
Yeah.
But then I was literally out of paper space. So I went and got the second one and I taped it over.
What day was that? What?
That was Thursday, April 17th,
Okay, so
2008.
early in the season. So at
Yeah.
that point, you still have hope.
Yep.
You're trying to win every game.
8-7. Padres off to a good start.
There you go.
Did not finish well.
Yeah.
That year, we blamed it all on this game. Now that I look at the,
The 22
roster,
and the fallout from that,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
all the domino effect of using so many arms for so many pitches and guys being tired and all that. But
looking back, I'm not sure if a lineup of Giles Iguchi, Kuzmanov, Clark, Hairston, Green, Bard, Justin Huber, and Jake Peavy was going to win the NL West that year. But nonetheless, a lot of fun. Okay, when we come back, why is the market frozen in free agency? Why is the market frozen in baseball free agency? We get into that story next. Andy and Elsten on the Fan. 11:42 is the time on the fan. Welcome back, everybody, to Annie and Elsten. Annie Halburn, Craig Elsten, Braden Soprano. We're getting ready for the 12 o'clock sports fix at the top of the hour, including a brand new signing via transfer for San Diego Wave FC.
Oh.
Yeah, second day in a row that they have flexed some of that financial muscle they just gained in the Jaden Shaw deal, moving her out to North Carolina. So we'll tell you who that is. Plenty more going on. What's the latest in baseball? Not a lot. We'll figure it all out. We'll figure it all out and get it to you coming up. Top of the hour at the 12 o'clock Sports Fix. But first, why nothing's going on in Major League Baseball? This is the second straight year, Annie, and I feel like, wow, this is our lot. We show up and in January just nothing happens while we're waiting for something to happen. But last year it was all blamed on Ohtani.
Right.
Like, oh, Ohtani has constipated the market. Nothing is moving until he moves, and then everything's going to... I'm not sure that's the case anymore. This year, there's no blocker. Not everyone is waiting on Roki Sasaki. The market should be wide open.
I mean, there's plenty of teams now that know they're not even in on Roki Sasaki. There's only 3 that really believe that they are, at least from if we believe the reporting that's going around. So it is an odd thing. I mean, I do, at some point, all these teams are going to need to fill these roster spots. So it's not like they're not going to move, and it's not like people aren't going to be signed. But I know the closer that it gets to spring training, the more desperation the players feel, because they want to get with a team and they don't want to be late to spring training and they want to move when they can. But at the same time, you probably had a number in mind that you wanted to reach. And this is kind of when the teams try to flex their leverage of knowing that players want to get signed. So it's going to move, and there will be a flood of moves and trades and signings. But I got to say, we say this every year, and I'll keep saying it. I really wish Major League Baseball had a deadline so that everybody gets signed. You know where you're going. I think it would even be better for the players, but the players union would feel probably that they would leave some money on the table if they do that.
Well, last year was the Boris 4, and we were talking a lot in these early months of our first year of the show about Boris's top 4 clients, and they were all expecting to break the bank, and none of them broke the bank. All of them signed short, make good deals. And then guys like Blake Snell have recouped that money this year in the market, certainly.
It is funny, though, that you're not even hearing many rumors. Like, look at how everything died down for Tanner Scott.
Yeah.
You never really heard much at all about Jurickson Profar. I mean, there's just so many players that you're just not hearing anything.
And right now I've got my new, it's not exactly a Boris 4, but I've got the 4. Alex Bregman.
Yeah.
Pete Alonso. How about Jack Flaherty?
Mm-hmm.
How about Anthony Santander, who hit over 40 homers last year? He's a switch hitter, hit over 40 bombs.
And that's one where you might be waiting for him to move first and then...
Maybe. But here's 4 dudes. Yeah. It's the middle of January. Full squads report a month from now.
Yeah.
And they are not home yet. And if you go another month... Now you're into Boris 4 territory. You're into pillow contract, 1+1 type deal. I screwed up. Let me get back out on the market next year.
I think that's what that's what teams want. Look at the Boris 4. They did not want those contracts they got last year. They felt they had to take them. You had to get with the team, and that's kind of the leverage that the teams are holding. The closer and closer it gets to spring training and gets into spring training, teams get to go, well, you want to play, don't you? You want to be with the team.
Right.
This is what we can offer, and it's tough for the players.
Don't sit out a year.
Can't sit out a year, exactly.
You're going to be rusty. You're going to get less money.
Yeah, unless you're Brandon Belt, who's decided he's only going for one thing.
He's still available, Craig.
And he's still available, right?
Why haven't we signed Brandon Belt? Oh, just bring out the old saw, we could still sign him.
That would have been valuable to a team, but he had a threshold of which he was going to sign or not sign, but not every player, exactly like Braden said, is going to be as flexible as someone like him who's already achieved so much in his career.
Well, this is how I've evaluated it, because on one level you go, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, is this collusion? Is this an attempt to depress the market? Well, look, Juan Soto got $750 million. Yeah. Did a billionaire screw up the market by taking the player's valuation and putting it from here to up here above his head? Well, here's how I look at it. I look at 3 things happening at once. And we've talked about these 3 things many times on this show. Thing number 1, television market uncertainty. You can't say it enough. Look who has spent money this winter Look who has home-bought, gigantic television networks. It's a direct overlap. It's 1-to-1.
And teams might feel more inclined to want to use players in their farm system, maybe more so than they would do other years, provided that you have them.
Yes. Now, Arizona signed Corbin Burns.
Yeah.
I get it. Look at Arizona. Who's on their roster? Corbin Carroll, Jake McCarthy. Like, they're built on young, affordable players. They had the room to add a gigantic contract to their team. They let Christian Walker go. They had that financial flexibility to add a Corbin Burns. The Padres have pre-spent that money. They gave that money to Manny Machado. They gave that money to Fernando Tatis Jr. and down the line, all of the great superstars that are here. But thing one, television market uncertainty. You've got like 6 clubs that are set no matter what, and they've been just throwing around the Benjamins. And then you got 24 clubs that are in some varied state of uncertainty, and almost none of them have spent big money unless they were perfectly positioned.
Yeah, and they don't all have complete rosters. So that's what's so weird about it, right? Is like, they're going to have to sign, they're going to have to trade, they're going to have to do things. I think it's really just holding out, like you're trying to practice patience, where it's like you're the I don't really gamble, but you'd have a better analogy than I would, but you're the one that's trying to bluff. You're the one that's trying to hold out on the table and get the other people to put their chips in and maybe give yourself a little bit better of a leverage. And I do also think this whole Roki Sasaki thing and the international trade signings are kind of significant too, because this is where the Padres have really excelled in terms of getting guys into their system at the very top. I mean, they signed the top 2 prospects the last 2 years with Ethan Salas and Leo Dallas DeVries. They may get the next top prospect in Roki Sasaki, or the next top signing, right? The international signing. But look at the Mets. The Mets announced that the club has signed 15 international players. Now, I'm not saying they're all going to hit. They're all not going to make it to the major leagues. But all these teams that are waiting on Roki Sasaki are also going to miss out on players that are available this year. Now, it's not the end of the world. They wouldn't be playing on your team this year except for Roki Sasaki. So it's not the end of the world, but it still is kind of significant in terms of just this like slowness of things happening. Like if you get Roki, you're going to be thrilled. It's going to be worth it. But if you don't get Roki, you missed out on Roki, and you missed out on some international players that have gone to sign with other teams who aren't waiting for Roki.
No, that's exactly right. But that's the gamble that we've played this year.
For sure.
So
and the Padres are in on it. They have to play it.
Right. Yeah. To give you the poker, we're an all-in team.
Yeah.
We've got our chips in, so it doesn't matter anymore. We're going to play this. We're not waiting for the next hand. We're not trying to find a different place to pick our spot. This is it. We're going to take our stand right here, and it's zero sum. Either we're going to get the pot dragged to us, or it's going to get pushed to the team in blue. One of the teams in blue.
But you just got to kind of be risking it right now.
Because that's who's in, and all 3 teams have their chips in, and we're waiting for the river card to fall, and the river card will fall. Sasaki will be the dealer. He will go right there. We're going to let you know what's going on. But thing one is TV market uncertainty. Thing two is there's 2 years till the next CBA. I don't think there's any coincidence that Corbin Burns signed a 6-year deal with an opt-out after 2 years, because nobody knows 3 years from now what the system's going to be.
Right.
And
if there'll be a lockout.
Right. Will there be a lockout? Could there be some version of a salary floor, salary cap, salary something beyond the luxury tax? Nobody knows. So making long-term, multi-year commitments is a giant risk if you don't have, thing number one, certainty in your television situation, right? The Dodgers keep doing this. We'll give you a third up front, a third 10 years from now. They've got that figured out. A lot of teams don't know. So thing one, television market uncertainty. Thing two is 2 years until the CBA. Thing three is the Cohen effect. When you have taken one player who is not a two-way player, who doesn't pitch on the days off, when he's not the DH, and you take him and you give him the most money in baseball history, now Anthony Santander takes a look and goes, okay, well, yeah, Juan Soto gets $55 million a year. I'm not Juan Soto, but I'm pretty close. So here's my number. Alex Bregman goes, well, if you're that, I'm this, and so on and so forth. And you get to thing three, which is increased player valuations. Market went up. There was a minute where everyone was just paying the rate, right, Annie? But the people who were paying the rate were the people who had the money flush or the money cached.
Yeah.
And now that market's gone. And so these three things are all working together simultaneously to keep the market unlocked.
And if you're a player, you want to use your leverage too. You want to say, well, I had this kind of year last year. I've had this kind of career. Unfortunately, I think that the teams end up burning through that a little bit because the teams essentially are like, I don't care. This is what we're going to offer you. And so the player ends up signing a 1 year or another prove it contract. And so we'll see I don't know if there's going to be as many long-term contracts, right? But the players obviously want it. And when you have guys coming off of a career year like Jerks and Profar, you want to use that leverage as best you can. Now, it doesn't mean that they're not going to try to use it against him as well. Like, well, what about all your other years? And what about this and that? But your agent is kind of telling you, hey, this is probably your best shot. And then it's kind of player dependent how far along in the process they want to hold out for. If they're even getting calls, some of them, like we just don't even know. Like, is the interest there on some of these guys? But you have to figure it is. I mean, these teams still need good players. And like Anthony Santander should go to someone soon. Right?
Well, and you brought it up, the last kicker in the last minute here this is where the Padres hope for some good news, because if the new, not exactly Boris 4 remains unsigned, and if Santander sits out there unsigned, well, there's Jurickson Profar, who's a tier below that, and he can't sign either, because he's counting on Santander's contract being something that he can draft off of.
Right.
And instead, his days go by and he gets closer to spring training and his anxiety grows as he remembers what happened in 2023. And so I do think this downward market pressure for a team that hasn't spent anything other than buying Tyler Wade and Mike Brasso in the Padres, it does at least slightly increase your chances.
And the National League West is getting, as we know, it's getting more competitive. I mean, the Diamondbacks even, Corbin Burns has deferred money in his contract. He's got $64 million deferred in his contract. They are putting their chips in, at least, and saying we're going to spend more money than we originally planned. Unless they move people, which is possible. But they've kind of said, hey, we're going to try to level up here.
And every time that all of our opponents level up,
everybody's got to level up. Exactly.
Where's our level?
Yeah, but the Padres are still in a good spot. I mean, we talked about this a little bit last week, and I know we're going to go to break here, but sometimes, you're so close to it, you don't see it. They still have a really good team, the Padres
we've got 2/3 to 3/4 of a great team.
Yes.
Just got to fill in those edges.
Yeah.
And we
try to
will
win on the margins there.
someday. Roki, we're still waiting. 12 o'clock Sports Fix is next. Happy Wednesday, everybody. We have reached the exact median of our broadcast week. 10 hours in the rearview mirror, 10 hours yet to come here on the Annie and Elsten program, your midday hang on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Annie Heilbrunn, Craig Elsten, Braden Soprano together in our Odyssey studios overlooking sunny Murphy Canyon, ready to deliver the sports news of the day. In the fix, Annie kicks us off.
Well, we are starting with none other than Roki Sasaki.
Where is he?
Where is he? Where are you going, Roki?
Bobby Fischer.
Where in the world
he?
is Roki Sasaki?
I don't know. Anybody? Saturday Night Live skit?
Oh, my God.
That's a great one.
Where in the world is Roki Sasaki?
Okay, so just speaking very quickly on Saturday Night Live, one of the stories that Jake Peavy talked about afterwards with fans was Billie Eilish wearing his jersey on Saturday Night Live, and it was a White Sox Peavy jersey. And
that's a rare find.
Yes, it was, and so someone was asking, Scott Miller, I think, was asking him about it, and his Billie Eilish's agent is a big Peavy fan.
Wow.
And she always wears jerseys, so the agent put it on Billie Eilish, and Peavy said his phone blew up like nothing. Like he got so much street cred for that, but he doesn't have any real affiliation with Billie Eilish, you know.
That's so funny.
But she wore a Peavy White Sox jersey. Isn't that great? Yeah, on Saturday Night Live.
Amazing.
Okay. Roki Sasaki's window to sign with an MLB team officially opens today and extends through January 23rd. He can sign at any time during this window as we are waiting. Sasaki has reportedly narrowed the field of 3 finalists, the Los Angeles Dodgers, San Diego Padres, and Toronto Blue Jays. Major league clubs have a designated amount they can spend each year on international and amateur players, with pools ranging from roughly $5 million to $7 million, plus the ability to trade for more space up to closer to $10 million. While teams are allowed to trade away as much of their pool as they choose, they can acquire only 60% of their original pool. For the Padres and the Blue Jays, I think that's close to $10 million or somewhere. Yeah,
they could,
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But speaking of trading for international bonus pool money, the Red Sox have acquired catcher Blake Sabol from the San Francisco Giants for international bonus pool money.
Giants, you're out already.
Aren't they out? They must want someone else.
They want someone else.
There's someone else they want that they're eyeing. So they just made that trade. Chase Shugart was DFA'd to create roster space. And ESPN unveiled the 2025 early season Major League Baseball Sunday Night Baseball schedule. The 36th season begins March 30th when the Padres host the Atlanta Braves.
That's right.
The Padres actually play on ESPN 3 times. They also play the Astros on April 20th and the Rangers on July 6th.
Okay.
Yeah, we're on there 3 times.
Yeah, I don't know if they're all at Petco. I assume they're not all at Petco. But, do you have it?
They might be.
Okay, well maybe they are.
Well,
either way.
What dates did you say?
Okay, April 20th.
April 20th. Who's that against? Houston. That's on the road.
Okay, the Rangers July 6th. July 6th.
That's here.
Okay, so
right.
you've
So
got
2 of the 3 are here.
You're on early. The Padres are on early. Their last game is July 6th. So
They'll
they've
be
got
flexing
3.
us in.
That's
but
true.
they don't have any
Yeah.
August games on that
All
list,
summer
right?
long, that's
August
true.
and September. I'm surprised that we didn't get any Padres Dodgers on there. That's usually
I
like
am
a guarantee.
so surprised at that.
Except for the fact that we only play them twice on Sunday and it's back-to-back Sundays. And they're in August, so now that makes sense. I'm sure one of those will get picked.
Yeah.
Assuming the Padres and the Dodgers are in contention.
And then, if and when we get the guy, his first start's going to get flexed, and then some of his other starts are going to get flexed, and so on and so forth. Braden, what have thee?
Got a lot in college and NFL. College football that relates to the NFL news, and then college basketball I will knock out as well. We'll start with college football news that matters to the NFL. Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers is declaring for the NFL draft. He announced in a video on social media. Decision ends a career at Texas that saw him help provide the program from a 5-7 season in 2021 and led the Longhorns to their only 2 college football playoff appearances in 2023 and 2024. Lost 2 games to the Frogs. Just need to throw that out there. Ewers going to the draft. A lot of people thought he might enter the transfer portal and get more money as a transfer than to go to the draft. He decides to go to the draft instead.
Get his career started.
But he started at Ohio State. Maybe he could have gone back.
Yeah.
You never know. That's for the college to NFL. NFL news. City of Cleveland has filed a lawsuit to stop the Browns from leaving their lakefront stadium and building a dome stadium in suburban Brook Park.
Oh, God forbid that you put a dome there.
The suit filed Tuesday in Cuyahoga County,
The
Ohio.
city is
Cuyahoga
suing.
County.
The city
County.
is saying, no, you're not leaving?
Yes, they are seeking to invoke the Modell Law. They put this in after the Browns left the first time, saying if the Browns were to leave the city of Cleveland again, they would put up if the Browns were to leave the city of Cleveland again, Cleveland residents that had enough money could theoretically offer to buy the Browns so they don't leave.
So wait, they're leaving the city of Cleveland and with this new dome, they'd be in a next door to Cleveland, or
Somebody said it's still in the same county. I don't know where Brook Park is, but
mean,
it
doesn't
makes
seem
it
like
sound
it's that far,
they're
but I
still
don't
the
know.
Cleveland Browns. They're not changing their name.
Right.
They're really not leaving. It's like I think it's the equivalent of like the Chargers moving to Oceanside,
oh, okay.
but they're out of the city limits of
At
Cleveland.
least on my Google Maps, Brook Park, Ohio to Cleveland, Ohio is 13.7 miles, 21 minutes.
Okay, so are
So
they even?
anyways.
They're probably in the same county. It's probably not even that. I don't know what they're doing. Anyway,
All right, anyways, yeah.
Cuyahoga County is where the lawsuit is filed, seeks to invoke the Modell Law to stop the Browns from moving. The state law says any professional sports owner who uses a tax-supported facility for home games and gets funding from the state or a political subdivision can't leave unless it gets permission to play elsewhere or gives 6 months' notice. In October, the Browns announced they informed the city of their intentions to build a $2.4 billion state-of-the-art stadium and entertainment complex in Brook Park, which is the same county but 15 miles south of Cleveland, when their stadium lease with the city expires at the end of the 2028 season. Browns owners Dee and Jimmy Haslam have been seeking a 50-50 private-public partnership for the construction of the stadium. Haslam said in a statement that the intended move was the result of trying to find the optimal long-term solution for our stadium. Look, I think we're all in agreement here. We don't like teams leaving.
No.
But in this
Leaving
particular case, they're not really leaving. And they
kind of do need a dome,
They
don't
need a dome. They're tired of
really
playing in
need
the
a dome.
snow.
Yeah, it's horrible.
They're tired of playing right off the lake.
I
Lake
mean,
Erie.
I've been there when the Chargers played. I would go for those games
Yeah.
as a reporter, and the fans are amazing. It's a great atmosphere, but you're just kind of moving 20 minutes away.
This is not the same as the Chargers going to LA.
No.
This is drastically different. They're in the same county. It would literally be like them going to, we're going to go play in Oceanside now. Why? Oh, you can't
Where
leave
we can
San
build a
Diego.
better stadium,
Where we
it
can build a
sounds
better
like,
stadium,
right.
which is what the Chargers threw out there. Who knows if they're actually backed any of that. But remember all the renderings of the Oceanside and Chula
I do
Vista and all this
remember.
stuff. And people
Yeah.
in San Diego are like, well, they're in the county. Who cares? Like, they're still going to be called
They're
the
still
Cleveland
the
Browns.
San Diego Chargers if they did that. They're not the Oceanside Chargers, right?
Right. So now they're suing the Browns. The Browns gave you notice. They said at the end of 2028 we plan on leaving. That seems like 6 months. That seems like enough time. It's just like, and hey, you know what? We're not leaving the county. We're still going to be here, and we're still going to be the Cleveland Browns. We're just leaving the city of Cleveland. I think do we think this is kind of ridiculous on Cleveland's part, or is it a justified lawsuit?
Maybe
Okay,
there's
look,
something I don't know here, but it seems like they should be able to get a dome stadium
I
20 minutes away.
Get it. The only thing is I get it from the civic standpoint of the revenue that
Right.
Cleveland Browns Stadium
The
creates.
taxes in the city of Cleveland compared to Brook Park.
Correct.
Ah,
Correct.
okay.
And
I got
how,
you.
How the
You're not making the money off of
right
it.
from
Right.
a
Right.
civic standpoint.
So like
Yeah.
Oceanside, if they were to have
I
the
get
Chargers
that.
on this move, theoretical,
Right.
they would be making all the tax
Right, and the city
money.
of San Diego wouldn't
City
get
of San
anything.
Diego wouldn't get a cent.
Right. Right. So that's
Where it's all stemming
that's
from
the play.
anyway.
But I mean, it's the same thing. And like, do people in Dallas complain that Jerry World is in
Arlington?
Irving? Or Arlington? Pardon me. Yeah. Like.
No.
Right. It's not like the Arlington Cowboys.
That whole
Like-
area is like one big city anyway. It's not, nobody really. Most of these teams don't even play in the city that they are.
I see
to.
this on Pro Football Talk. Even if team owners Jimmy and Dee Haslam can finagle a win in court, they bought the team knowing about the existence and requirements of the Modell Law. The fact that they're even accused of breaking it shows they have poorly handled the situation.
Oh,
At least
come
that's what
on.
he's saying.
Sure.
The
fine,
Jets and the
okay.
Giants don't even play in the same state.
Right. They play in Jersey.
They play in Jersey. Anyway, I digress. That's another topic. We can do that later.
Lovely digression, though.
Dallas Cowboys pass rusher Micah Parsons expressed disappointment with head coach Mike McCarthy's departure from the franchise, calling the development, quote, devastating Tuesday. He did it on his own podcast, The Edge podcast. 3 straight 12-5 seasons, playoff appearances, and obviously an unfortunate year due to injuries. It is devastating. Coach Mike is a great father, great coach, one of the best winningest coaches. He's always been good to us as a unit, coaches, players. Losing a great coach like Mike hurts. So you got something to say here? You know, is there something to do with player coaches? I mean, eventually you still got to win. He only won 1 playoff game. I know it's going to upset a lot of players in the locker room, but sometimes the players' coaches don't work out too much. Wasn't Norv a players' coach?
Yes.
They
very
loved
much so.
him.
Very much so.
And didn't
Very
win
much
the
so,
playoffs.
yeah.
So there you
Buddy
go.
Black, players, I mean, well, he still has a job, but like, yeah, you hear about like players' coach, players' manager.
They don't win, but they love playing for him. So there you go.
You know, these days I feel like you've got to be right. Like you've
Gotta
got
be
to
a little bit of
you've got to
both.
be a political. You've got to be like a front office person. You know what I mean? And because back in the day, like you wanted players coaches. Those were the teams that like the players wanted to come back to those cities. They liked playing for them. You know, there was
Correct.
good culture, all that. Hopefully some winning along the way. But I see what you're saying about that. But now it's like you kind of got to be a little, treading on both sides of the fence.
In other NFL news that nobody cares about, Colts have been designated as the home team next season for the NFL's first regular season game in Berlin.
Now I know which side to back.
Thanks.
These are our Colts.
I can't wait for his. He needs to learn German and sing it in German.
Gesundheit. Yeah,
We
I
need
don't
the
know.
German version of that. Berlin game, part of the 2025 international games will be played
What
at
if he's the
Olympic
pregame
Stadium.
entertainment?
He
he's-
might be.
Indie Uber alles. I don't
He
know.
might be. I got 3 college basketball stories and get to those later. Craig,
Okay,
go ahead.
Here we go. I got news for you. San Diego Wave FC has announced this morning the acquisition of 22-year-old forward Gia Corley via transfer from the German Bundesliga. Pretty cool. Corley joining San Diego from TSG Hoffenheim Frauen. Hoffenheim Frauen, where she has spent 4 seasons with 70 appearances, 46 starts, 14 goals, 12 assists in all competitions for TSG, including 2 goals, 3 assists this season. She gets a 2-year deal, and of course they had to pay a transfer fee to the German team, TSG Hoffenheim Frauen.
Frauen.
So some of that Jaden Shaw international transfer
Schnitzel.
money,
It's used for their.
shoot it on over there. And we're starting to see the reconfiguration of San Diego Wave FC, a new Nigerian forward. Now we've got a forward from the Bundesliga. However, Gia Corley grew up in Tacoma, Washington. So she's not actually German. She's an American. She's been playing over there. No signings yet for San Diego FC today. That's a first this week. We've had at least one every day prior to this. The brand new MLS side is in its 3rd day of full squad training in Singing Hills.
There goes the streak.
I know, streak's over.
Put a 0 on the
On the scoreboard.
days of the move.
Maybe
0.
Tyler Heaps was tuning in to listen to Lindsay Horan and didn't have time to sign a contract today.
Well, he could have waited till the 1 o'clock hour.
Maybe, well, that's true. He could wait until 1:20, but nonetheless, maybe it'll be this afternoon is my point. Maybe he spent a little time, little family time, and then get on over to the signing time. All right, I've got a real game for you tonight. San Diego Sockers taking the floor at Front Wave Arena tonight to take on the Kansas City Comets. This will be a 7:35 p.m. kickoff at Front Wave Arena. But if you are a fan of indoor soccer, and as we learned in our Lindsay Horan interview, when she had her groom versus bride winner-take-all soccer match prior to her wedding to Tyler Heaps, they played indoors. Tell you what, it's a global game. And
Don't play indoors in Cleveland. They'll get upset with you.
no, that would, hey, listen, completely different story.
Elements. We need the elements.
Nonetheless, tonight should be an absolutely excellent match. Both teams have 5 wins early on in the season. Kansas City was one of the Ron Newman Cup finalists last year. The Sockers a semifinalist, so this could be a finals preview. It's that level. It's a top-class match in indoor soccer. If you'd like to make the trek to Front Wave Arena. If you are a North County resident, the Sockers are making this match very easy for you. They've got $5 tickets, and they're offering $5 beers for tonight's match.
Yeah.
So if you are geographically inclined, Front Wave Arena will make it cheaper for you tonight.
Wasted
to go
Wednesday.
see.
Please drink
Yes,
responsibly.
Right.
Sockers and Comets. Now, if you're not going to make it, Tony Sanchez and I will have the call for you. This one is on the CBS Sports Galazo Network. being globally broadcast in the Golazo network. So if you don't know where that is, I get it. If you've got Paramount Plus, you can find it on the Live TV tab. If you don't have Paramount Plus, you can watch it live on the CBS Sports app, or you can watch it live on Pluto TV.
As long as you got
as well.
As long as you got it right up there and you drink as many of those $5 beers as you possibly consume. I've heard the broadcasters of those games like the jeers from the crowd.
Did you hear that?
Don't tempt them with a good time.
Did you hear that?
I think you should.
Because
so if you have anybody to talk crap to, look up to the top. And
we do have a uniquely accessible broadcast
right.
booth this year with fans literally sitting right below us.
That's right. They love when you pass them a beer.
Including the wife of the general manager. She's like right there the whole time. I'm like, she's spying or is she? No. She's not. She enjoys it. So that's what's going on. Soccer's tonight, 7:35 p.m. Front Wave Arena. Meanwhile, if hockey is more your thing, San Diego Gulls are on the ice tonight. They're hosting the Iowa Wild. That one will face off a half hour earlier at 7:05 at Pechanga Arena. And San Diego Mojo fast approaching. First service on their home schedule is tomorrow night when they take on Orlando Valkyries. Tomorrow on Annie and Elsten, we'll be joined by center blocker Ronica Stone at 1 o'clock to preview that one and the beginning of the Mojo season. Now, we slide on over to the National Basketball Association, where the top three teams in the league undoubtedly are Oklahoma City, Boston, and Cleveland. Last night, OKC took down Philadelphia 118-102, while Cleveland beat Indiana 127-117. The Milwaukee Bucks ended Sacramento's 8-game winning streak, 130-115. Bucks run wild. Our Southern California teams did not play last night, but tonight is a very busy schedule with 11 games, including two teams here in L.A. We're not here in L.A., but two teams in Southern California. Lakers will host the Miami Heat. The Clippers will host the Brooklyn Nets tonight. Probably top non-SoCal game tonight is Houston taking on Denver. We finish over at the NHL, and hockey stars are not immune to the wild trend of star athletes having their homes burglarized.
That leads into my next story.
Pittsburgh Penguins center Evgeny Malkin saw his home broken into on Saturday, and now his 3 Stanley Cup championship rings are gone. Malkin won those rings with the Penguins in 2009, 2016, 2017. The back door of Malkin's home was reportedly kicked in at the time of break-in when alarm system and cameras happened to be down. Oh, interesting. Uh-oh.
What's going on there?
Yeah, what is going on there? But nonetheless, really, really bad news for Evgeny Malkin and a real bummer. And this thing just keeps seeming to happen in pro sports. Last night on the ice of the NHL, where people were not getting robbed, except for their hearts getting robbed, Ducks lost to the Capitals 3-0. There were a whole lot of other results, including our beloved Winnipeg Jets defeating Vancouver 6-1, and Montreal skating past a team formerly known as Arizona 5-3. Tonight is as light as last night was heavy. Carolina will be at Buffalo. Edmonton will be at Minnesota. And that's it for me. Back to the...
Well, speaking of break-ins, more than 24 vehicles in a high school parking lot had their windows smashed and were broken into during a men's college basketball game at nearby University of Michigan.
That sucks.
Ann Arbor police said the break-ins occurred Sunday. Damage was reported to 27 vehicles.
Wait,
no
while
arrests
the game
have
is
been
going on?
Correct.
Where was security?
Well,
how do you
they
crack
parked
20 cars?
They
and
parked
not...
at the high school's lot next door, I guess. I don't know. I mean,
Okay,
I've never
continue,
been to
sorry.
Michigan, so
Yeah.
I don't know what the lots are like. I guess it'd be like if you parked in the neighborhood around San Diego State and then your car was broken into.
Yeah, true.
Fans watching the Wolverines defeat the Huskies at Chrysler Arena discovered the damage as they returned to the lot at Pioneer High School. Cash, purses, wallets, and other items were taken from the vehicles, police said. Everything was great until we got back out to the car after the game and saw glass everywhere, Joe Waits told the TV station. Waits of Kalamazoo said he had taken his 8-year-old daughter to her first Michigan basketball game. It was pretty devastating, he said. My daughter was definitely pretty emotional because they went through everything in our car. So that's an unfortunate situation at Michigan, at a Michigan basketball game. Speaking of college basketball, Cooper Flagg cut across the court to catch an early kick-out feed, knocked down a three-pointer from the wing. Moments later, he was alone in the left corner and confidently had a catch and score for another three with no hesitation, en route to dropping 42 points.
42?
To set a conference freshman single game scoring record Saturday, helping fourth-ranked Duke beat Notre Dame 86-78. Conference freshman single game scoring record in a very prestigious ACC conference for college basketball. Pretty impressive. 42 points for Cooper Flagg. Last bit of news for you in college basketball. Had the new top 25 come out yesterday. Auburn's number 1 in the AP. Top 25 at 15-1. They got 61st place votes. Iowa State comes in number 2. Duke 3, Alabama 4, and Florida 5. Duke and Florida both got first place votes as well. The previous number 1, Tennessee, lost to Florida last week, drops to 6, followed by Marquette, Kentucky, Kansas, Houston in the top 10. If you want to take a look at the entire top 25, it is posted on the Associated Press's website, and that's it for college basketball. Aztecs win big last night over Colorado State. Miles Bird, career high in points.
25.7 steals, 6 boards. Amazing stuff. That's it for your 12 o'clock sports fix. We somehow managed to jumbo stuff a Wednesday 12
On a
o'clock
Wednesday.
sports fix.
It's pretty impressive.
It's rare. When we return after this timeout, Deion Sanders sets a streak for appearing in the 12:20 segment 2 days in a row.
Wow.
But for an entirely different reason today.
Than yesterday.
Yeah, completely different reason. A viral moment from last night's NBA action that I think you really do have to see and hear about right after this. This was a ton of fun. We'll get to it next. It's Annie and Elsten, San Diego's number 1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. If you're looking to play daily fantasy sports, Underdog is the best place to cash in on all your takes. And great news for California sports fans, Underdog is now available to play right here in the Golden State. With over 5 million players, over $2 billion in winnings, Underdog makes it both fun and easy to cash in on all your favorite athletes' performances. It's straightforward. They've got every sport under the sun on the Underdog app. You download that bad boy, and you're trying to find the right daily fantasy plays in the pick'em game. Higher or lower on various stats. You know, Patrick Mahomes' passing yards or Victor Wembanyama's blocks tonight or LeBron James's turnovers. You can find the right grouping of plays that are right for you. And Underdog's the only pick'em platform that gets the power to cash out right there in your hands. You can either keep riding with your entry or you can tap win now and cash out whenever you want. It's a great place. I've been playing since the Christmas break, and I'll tell you what, it keeps bringing me back to the app. There's so many different options for you. It's really great if you are a smart player. Underdog, best place to play pick'em. All you have to do is download the app for free, sign up with promo code Craig. That's my name, CRAIG. Deposit now. You can get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. That's promo code Craig. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. The Biggest Fan contest returns on January 27th. Our grand prize is a night in the Odyssey Suite with 20 tickets for you and your friends at a future Padres game. Register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggestfan. Then listen when we announce names each day at 9 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and 5:30 for your chance to qualify. So again, 973thefansd.com/biggestfan. Now's your time. Get in there, free registration, and then be tuned in all day. We're going to be having 3 call-outs for winners every single day starting on January 27th.
Exciting.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, no, it is. It's good.
I mean, you get a night in a suite at Petco Park, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sounds like a good time.
All right, let's hit something quick right here. We've got the match game coming up, and looking forward to that, to reassembling our all-star panel. But first, a story from last night in the NBA, which was a ton of fun. TNT game last night, and Ian Eagle is on with the former UNLV star Greg Anthony. Greg Anthony was the color analyst. And, Greg Anthony, fashionable, he had a wild suit jacket on.
Okay.
He had a wild blazer. I've got 2 links for you here, Braden. One listed as shot and the other as chaser. So let's start with shot, which is the shot of him on the air, Ian Eagle and Greg Anthony, right? And, they've got their courtside setup, the pregame hit that you have, the 2 people hit that you have. And watching the game from his home or somewhere was Colorado, maybe soon Dallas, head coach Deion Sanders. And there's Coach Prime's tweet. He said, I need that blazer that at Greg Anthony 50 has on tonight on NBA on TNT. If you hit the little right there, now you can see the blazer.
Okay.
And it is a black and white pattern.
But I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, I mean,
it's pretty bold.
Yeah.
Pretty bold. He goes
Pulling it
understated
off.
with the black turtleneck underneath.
Right.
I like that. Red pocket square. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So Deion tweets, "Hey, I want that blazer." Now, here's the fun thing. Shedeur Sanders, son of Deion, is sitting courtside at this game. So the tweet info gets back to Greg Anthony, and Greg Anthony takes off his blazer, gives it to Jared Greenberg, who's the sideline reporter.
Oh, wow.
For this game on NBA on TNT.
Great hit for the sideline reporter,
We've
by
got
the
the
way.
video. And we're showing it on our YouTube. And Jared has it, and he walks over to the courtside, and here's Shedeur. And Shedeur has no idea what's going on.
He's like, why are you giving me a blazer? Why are you giving me a jacket?
He
here?"
literally
Yeah.
is saying, what? And then he asks, can you give it to me later? And Jared
wanna
says,
hold this.
Jared
what do you
says
want to do with
no,
this?
and just gives it to him.
He's like, we're on TV, my man. We are live right now.
Hey.
We're having a moment. Okay?
Prime
Play
said you
along.
wanted the jacket. We're giving you the jacket. Take it
Okay,
over with your dad.
The best part is that he kind of smiles at the sideline reporter, trying to be respectful. And then as soon as the guy walks away, he makes a look like my freaking dad. Now I got to carry this thing around.
That's awesome.
I just love the look he gives Jared. I'm like, what? And then, can I get it later? And he goes, what's this for?
I might eat something. I
For
don't
my
want to touch
dad?
it. Right.
What?
That's
he just
hilarious.
takes it
And
and
then
he's
watch
like,
his face. He takes it.
like
And then watch his face. He's like, yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, all right.
little smile, nice.
yeah.
There's the TV
Yeah.
smile.
And then he's like,
Looks-
oh, my God.
What? He just looks down at that jacket like, what? What is this thing?
Amazing.
But guess what? Prime's got the jacket now.
And that's pretty nice. That's a pretty nice move. And the right kind of PR move if you're playing along. So
That was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Ton of fun. All right. It is time to open up the phone lines.
he's got to wear it now. Prime's got to wear it
He's
at
gotta
his
wear at
next
least once.
press conference. Right.
I would love him to show
Yeah.
up at his Tuesday or Thursday press conference wearing
Wearing
that.
it, right.
That would just be so good. All right, we're opening up the phone lines right now. I got to do. I don't have a bell. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. We need 2 contestants to join us because it's time to assemble the all-star panel. And for the first time in 2025, it's time to play the match game in our Silly Game segment on Annie and Elsten. We're going to get everyone together. We need you getting your ESP going out there, trying to match up on funny questions. And if you prevail today, you will be qualified for our end-of-the-month grand prize drawing, a trip to Las Vegas to see Scorpions on March 6th, plus a 2-night stay at Planet Hollywood and a $100 gas card for your trouble. So give us a ring right now, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We need 2 contestants. We're going to screen them up, and we're going to come back. Match game is next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Hey, Scorpions returns with their 60 Years of the Scorpions Las Vegas residency show, live February 27th to March 11th at PH Live at Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino. Tickets are on sale now. Whoa, hi. At Ticketmaster.com. We have assembled the all-star panel. There was even controversy for the fourth seat. We have a scramble. It's a mad dash. It's almost
to get in here.
Yeah, it's almost like when somebody puts free food in the break room. It's
It was
like,
really mean of you to kick Scraby out of here.
It's just horribly.
Scraby
He's
was in
busy.
here
He's got a show to put together.
and got kicked out.
I mean, he didn't get kicked out. He kicked himself out. He was-
Classic Scraby.
Yeah, he's self-evicted.
From Scrape. We found Scrabistan's weakness. It's Greg.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
The country of Greg.
That's right.
He's intimidated by it.
Let it be known.
Well, get ready to match the stars. Annie Heilbrunn.
Hello.
Adam Clue.
First match game for me for 2025. Happy to be here.
On the red
Exciting.
Greg.
Let's go.
Braden Soprano.
What's up?
And I'm your host, Gene Rayburn. This is Match Game 97.3, where you can win big-time prizes and money if you can match the stars with the sounds they make with their dry erase pens. If you can exactly match that sound, you will be the winner today. Otherwise, we'll just play the regular game that we have. Who would you like to select here, Braden, as our two contestants
Well,
today?
one of them hung up, but we're going to go with Jerry and Rob.
Whoa.
All right, we got Jerry and we got Rob. Let's start with contestant number one. It's Jerry in Santee. Hello, Jerry. Welcome to the match game.
Hey, how you folks doing?
Doing very well and better now that you're here, Jerry. But before we continue, tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm retired and happily married for 32 years. Big San Diego Padre fan, just like anybody else. Wait for it. Sasaki to sign.
We are all in the waiting room, Jerry.
I've
We
got
are
Jeff
all
Passan's Twitter
hanging.
up just in case.
Just in
We're
case.
all hanging in the waiting room. Putting you back on hold to welcome in contestant number two, Rob in El Cajon. Hi, Rob. Welcome to the match game.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It is our pleasure. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a 8U softball coach here in East County, and my
Nice.
wardrobe consists of Costco and Sam's Club. So.
Sounds familiar. Absolutely, Rob. All right, guys. You are our two contestants today for the match game.
I got plenty of Costco clothes. No shame in that.
None at all. Great value on some golf stuff, I'll tell you that. Here's how the game is played, gentlemen. It'll be played in 2 rounds. You will each get 1 question per round. When it is your turn, I will have you on hold. I will read the question to our All-Star Celebrity panel. They will then write in their answers. Then I'll come back to you, put you back on the air, and ask you the same question and get your answer. We'll go around the horn. We will compare. Every time you match one of our panelists, you will get a point. And at the end of 2 rounds, and potentially a tiebreaker, whoever is the winner is entered into our grand prize drawing, which once again is a trip to Las Vegas to see Scorpions on March 6th, plus a 2-night stay at Planet Hollywood, and a $100 gas card. Okay, Jerry, you called in first. You are contestant number 1. So in round 1, you get the option. Would you like question A or question B?
Yeah, I'll take you lucky B.
Going with question B.
Good answer. Good answer.
As we begin this episode of Match Game, we'd like to remind you for the first time in 2025 that all of the characters, names, thought concepts that you hear in Match Game 97.3 questions are 100% and entirely fictitious. They bear no resemblance to anybody living or dead. Any such resemblance is entirely coincidental. And with that, we move on. All right, putting you on hold, Jerry. Round 1, question B, panelists lock in.
Locked.
In.
The promotions team has a new plan for Match Game in 2025. The winner gets 2 nights in Vegas. The loser gets 2 weeks in blank. The promotions team has a new idea for Match Game in 2025. The winner still gets 2 nights in Vegas, but the loser gets 2 weeks in blank. Chance for geographical humor from our all-star celebrity panel. They will let me know verbally when they're done.
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 Oh, gosh.
Good one.
Great
That's a good
answers from over here.
Back to Jerry now. Jerry, here's the question for you. The promotions team has a new plan for Match Game in 2025. The winner still gets 2 nights in Vegas, but the loser gets 2 weeks in...
Well, being a Padre fan, I'm going to go in Dodger Stadium.
That's a great one, Jerry. That's a great one.
Jerry, you're gonna get a match, just not from me.
What'd you
I
got,
have
Danny?
Scravistan.
Love that answer.
Oh, what a great answer. I don't want 2 hours in Scravistan. 1 is enough. Adam Clue.
I'll be very specific here. He's got a match. I went Dodger Stadium, Dodger with a lower D. Needs to be said.
Yes,
Dodger Stadium.
You could put a little asterisk where the O is as well. That would be fine. But that is a match. All right, on the red, Greg.
But it ends there because I also said Scravistan.
Oh, Scravistan was the answer to get.
I love that answer.
Here's Braden.
I said Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Oh.
Still going to Vegas, just a little bit
Kansas.
different. Yeah, the little, hey, don't disrespect the little
The
apple.
little
like
apple.
Hey,
I
that's a
almost
great
put,
answer, though.
I almost put Lubbock, but
That
like
would
cooler heads.
have been funny, too.
Lubbock or Waco.
All right, so 1 match for Jerry.
Good start.
In round 1.
Yes.
Rob, it's your turn. Here comes round 1, question A. In order to lure ravishing Roki, the local club brought their rock star GM, their star players, and a trip to blank.
How coincidental.
Wait, what? What was that?
In order to lure ravishing Roki, the local club brought their rock star GM, they brought their star players, and they gave him a trip to blank. Where would they have taken it? Ravishing Roki. In America's finest city. Where would you take him?
Okay.
That's the idea. Where would you take him? A trip to blank. And if everyone says Scravistan again, I'm going to laugh.
I'm good.
All right, everyone else?
I'm good.
Good?
Okay.
Locked.
I'm good.
And he's good. All right. Rob, we are back to you, sir. In order to lure ravishing Roki, the local club brought their rock star GM, brought their star players, and gave him a trip to
Let's try the San Diego Zoo.
the zoo.
The zoo.
Great answer.
That's a really good answer.
So many
yes.
players love visiting the zoo.
I mean,
do.
why
Yeah.
wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Here's Annie Halbrun.
I said El Cajon beef and bun.
Nice. Beef and bun.
I mean, if you want to close the deal.
That's right.
If you want to close the deal,
so
that might be the
Hell
way.
yeah.
Wow.
Some
Adam
peanut butter
Clue.
Oreo
It's
shake.
San Diego, right?
Yeah.
We're going to the beach.
Going to the
The
beach.
beach.
Yep.
Trip to the beach.
The beach.
Makes perfect
Boy.
sense. Here's on the red Greg.
My answer not as wholesome. I went with Hong Kong Tijuana. Hong Kong Tijuana.
Whole different marketing.
Could be
Whole
fun.
different pitch.
Could be
Whole
fun.
different pitch.
Never been myself. But
Of course not. Of course not. Yeah. Here's Braden.
I put the Hotel Del to be a little bit
Hotel
more
Del.
wholesome
Nice,
there.
yeah.
Sure. Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
almost put the rendering museum, but
that was a tough one.
Well,
It wasn't easy. It's never easy.
the renderings museum.
However, at the end of round 1, the score is Jerry 1, Rob 0. Rob, as contestant number 2, you get the choice in round number 2. Would you like question A or question B?
Let's go with A.
Going with
Peanut
question
butter
A.
shake sounds amazing right about
so
now.
good.
Beef
I'm
and bun.
so hungry.
It's great.
Stop it.
Peanut butter Oreo shake and beef and bun.
All right. Here we go. Round 2, question A. Panelists, stop thinking about peanut butter shakes. Lock in.
About to go get him for the whole staff.
Nice,
Right,
locked.
right,
Yeah,
right.
definitely locked.
Now I'm locked in.
Adam knows what's up.
All right.
It's a quick drive over
Silly
there.
Scraby. Round 2, question A. Silly Scraby is always out of touch with what's going on.
How out of touch of what's going on is he?
Busy.
I'll tell you. He just realized today that blank is over. Silly Scraby is
Perhaps
always
it's
out
best
of touch.
that you didn't invite Scraby, that you kicked him out of the studio for 2
I
weeks.
told you
Right, I
I
know,
invited
these
him. I told
questions.
you there was a Silly Scraby. I literally said to him in the doorway, "You're going to miss a Silly Scraby."
He just realized blank is over.
Yeah, Silly Scraby is always out of touch with what's going on. He's so out of touch, he only just realized today that blank is over. Got plenty of options here.
Well, these are just coincidental.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
not
okay.
actually.
I don't know if I'm missing something more.
I don't
mean, I think
either.
I am, but I'm going with a little bit more obscure.
I'm with you. I don't know.
That was what I wanted to go with, Andy, but
I was actually going to go with yours, but then you
I'm
can
being
go
a little
either.
bit meaner.
Let's
to
keep
Scraby
our
on
eyes
this
on our
one.
own paper.
fine.
Okay,
Wow,
what are we
geez.
doing?
Holy
over here?
cow.
What is
All right.
this?
Everyone ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Sounds like you've all combined on an interesting answer. All right, Rob, all we need is one for you to stay in the game. Silly Scraby is always out of touch with what's going on. You know, he's lost in his own world, his own country, you might say. He just realized today that blank is over. What do you got?
2024.
Okay, yeah. He just realized today that it's even 2025. That's a perfectly good
answer.
It's
I
a
was
good
close.
answer.
I said Christmas.
Christmas would have been a great answer. Absolutely.
That would have been my original answer, but I was harsher on Scraby. I went baseball season.
Baseball season's
Just
a great
realizing
answer.
it's no longer baseball.
I think
about
that's a
to start,
great
though.
answer.
It's about to start.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also went with the holidays.
The holidays looks like your winner right there. You need a match right here,
It's
Rob.
not going to work. I put the 49ers Super Bowl host.
Oh, shots fired.
Just
Wow.
realized that.
And just like that, in a soccer-style 1-0 score, it's Jerry that is today's champion.
Congratulations.
Of Match Game. Well done,
Jerry.
Jerry.
Very well. Is that Jerry with the G or Jerry with the J?
Thank you.
Jerry with a J. Appreciate you, Jerry. Stay right on hold. It'll be just a few minutes, and we will get to you and get all your information to get you signed up. And if you are the lucky one at the end of the month, you will be heading March 6th to see Scorpions play in Las Vegas at Planet Hollywood. Thanks so much for playing the game, Jerry. Rob, better luck next time.
Jerry.
At the risk of making myself look bad, should I know a specific song or two by the Scorpions? Because nothing's coming to mind.
I've got one. I've only got one.
I've got one. I'm forgetting it right now, but the Winds of Change.
Okay.
All right. I didn't know that one.
I believe it's just Scorpions, though, not
is that
the
Scorpion?
Scorpions, right?
Interesting, because here is what it says. It says Scorpions returns with their 60 years of the
Yeah,
Scorpions.
Scorpions.
And by the way, I did do a background check to make sure that number 60 is accurate.
Yeah,
and
it
it
is.
is.
Yeah,
So-
1965.
Rock you like a hurricane.
That's the one. That's the one I know.
Gotcha. Okay.
Here I am.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Rock you
I'm not
like
gonna
a
show. I
hurricane.
don't know how awesome it is, but I know the song.
I feel
That's
like
the
they
big
were
one. That's the
on
main
for
one.
New Year's Eve or something. I want to say
Plenty
I
of
was
New Year's
watching
Eves.
a
Their lead singer's
like,
76. He's-
recently.
It's more like Old Year's Eve, I mean, if you're being honest.
I don't know.
Big City Nights, apparently.
Gonna be a great show.
It's going to be awesome. I promise. I
You're
mean,
getting a
look,
trip to Vegas. Whether or not
Yeah,
you enjoy the
great,
Scorpions concert,
great.
all right?
Arguably,
I think
they
you're
could
probably
be
having
the
a great
last
time
time
at
you
the
see them. You know,
Scorpions.
I mean, I
But-
think every
Possible.
time you see Scorpions is maybe the last time you're
They
going to see
probably
Scorpions.
know how to put on a good show.
If they've been around 60 years, they got
Right.
Got
they
it
might
down.
have another decade.
If it ain't broke.
Well, All-Star Celebrity Panel, thank you so much. On the Red Greg, tell everyone how they can interact with you in other ways than listening to this fine show.
Wow, what an opportunity. You can hear me weekdays on 103.7 KSON. We're getting ready for KSON Country Fest coming up
Hey.
Petco Park. I know
Yeah.
baseball season's not back, but
Hey.
we want to get down at Petco Park for Country Fest with Justin Moore, Warren Zeiders, and of course Nate Smith. Tickets at KSON.com.
Are you hosting any of this?
I'll get up there a little bit. It's,
Oh,
it's
wow,
the John and
okay.
Tammy show mostly, but
Okay.
I sneak up there a little bit too.
Good, yeah.
Well, I'm very familiar with the 3 licks that are played in the commercial on our station.
Yeah,
That's right,
thank you
yeah.
for all the support. I
Set
appreciate
this
it.
world on fire.
It's a great song.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good.
It's going to be good live too.
And Adam Klug, what would you like to plug?
Baseball season. It's around the corner. Listen to 97.3 The Fan as much as you can, please.
Love it.
Absolutely, including Inside San Diego Baseball with Sam Levitt
Yeah.
tonight.
Yes.
Tonight, 7 to 9
Sandy Lev
p.m.
on the air tonight.
Nice.
He's the
Is that
last
new?
one in the
I'll-
waiting room.
I'll say this is the first time back in 2025. I know we took, a 2-week hiatus there at the end of the year, but I'm thrilled that the entire station is back on the air, talking Padres baseball and interacting and engaging with
Looks
our
great.
audience.
Sounds
FanFest
great.
is February 1st. Pitchers and
FanFest.
catchers report 2 weeks later.
Do we want to divulge some FanFest details?
Oh, well, if you've
you're
got them,
the
I mean,
boss.
we got
should.
you
Yeah.
in that.
Do we have
Let's
a
do it.
breaking news somewhere?
Our station will be broadcasting live inside Petco Park at FanFest from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So
Let's go.
Get your FanFest tickets at Padres.com. Come on out to FanFest. See us. Come hang with us. Come say hello. And we'll have some really cool prizes to give away on site there. That's all I'll say, but trust me, very cool prizes.
Wow, can't wait. Ben and Woods will be out there. Annie and Braden and I will be out there. Gwen and Chris and the whole gang will be out there. Scraby will be out there. He'll draw the boundaries of Scrabistan around the booth.
Now, is that, are you, because, players usually come by sometimes. When the Padres can, they come by and talk. So are
Yep.
you expecting
We
Sasaki to stop
Wow.
and take
That's a lot of
Adam,
pressure.
or are
I have no inside information. I surely hope that in a couple of weeks we're all hanging out at Petco Park celebrating Roki Sasaki in brown and gold.
Your lips to God's ears, please. All right, guys. Great work. Appreciate
Tony in the
y'all.
chat.
Thanks for being
Way
here.
to announce
And
it.
our first match game of the year in the rearview mirror. And my favorite thing about a match game where we only use 3 questions. That's one less I have to
One
write
less
next
week.
week.
Rolling over. We're rolling over.
It's one less for next week. I feel very much prepared at this time. All right, we're going to take our time out. When we come back, fourth and final hour of Annie and Elsten, we're going to hit reset on some of the big topics that we discussed earlier, including being in the waiting room for Roki. Big Aztecs when Braden was courtside to see it at Colorado State. We'll chat about that and more. And later in the 1 o'clock hour, if you missed our interview with Lindsay Horan, captain of the U.S. women's national team. That will be coming up in our second segment, so stay tuned for that. Probably the most acclaimed individual we've had yet on the Annie and Elsten program.
I think you're selling yourself a little short.
Yeah?
There's another famous soccer player you guys have had on the show.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Goes by the name of Landon Donovan.
That's true. We did have, Landon Donovan, America's most decorated men's player.
He didn't call from France, though.
Right.
Yeah, he didn't call him
was
from Lyon.
He wasn't looking at the
That's right.
Eiffel Tower.
While he
out of
was
his
In match
doing
game
it,
window.
terms, you guys have had manager Mike.
We've had manager Mike.
Manager Mike.
That's just a fictitious character, but we had
Total
Padres manager
coincidence.
Mike Schild as well. All right, so all of this to come. Ask us anything as well. We'll be opening up the phones to wrap things up, so stay right there, friends. It's a very short break, and then it's hour number 4 of Annie and Elsten on 97.3 The Fan. 1 o'clock, fourth hour of Annie and Elsten here with you on a Wednesday. Great to have the crew back together. Annie Heilbrunn, Craig Elsten, Braden Suprenant. Ain't no stopping us now. We're rolling till 2 o'clock. We will check in with Gwen and Chris at that time. They will roll from 2 to 6. But we got an extended broadcast day today on 97.3 The Fan, 6 to 7. A voyage inside Scrabistan with the Matt Scraby Show. And then from 7 to 9, Sammy Levitt. He will check in. He'll be right here with Inside San Diego Baseball. That means Roki Watch rolls all the way till 9 p.m. tonight here on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. That's our top story today. It's a tough one to keep coming back to and batting the pole here, Annie, but nonetheless, we're in the waiting room. We're waiting to find out. The international window is open. Nobody has made that trigger trade that we were talking about the last 3 days. The only team that's jumped in and acquired more international bonus pool money is Boston. The Red Sox are probably not going to sign Roki Sasaki. So we had been thinking maybe today, you'd like right at the beginning of the day, it'd be, well, the Dodgers have acquired $500,000 and the Padres have acquired $750,000 and the Blue Jays have acquired $1 million in bonus pool money. But it's not just like you can press a button for that, right? You need someone to make a trade with.
You need to be able to make a trade, and you know, they also might not need to get too much higher than what they already have. You know,
Right.
I don't. Who knows if he's even going to sign for the full amount that he's eligible for? I mean, there's speculation that maybe he doesn't take that he takes, you know, somewhere in a few million less than that. You know, so we'll see what happens and what he ends up doing. But I do think it will be next level trolling if a team that is not the Padres, Dodgers, or Blue Jays signs him, because it'll be like, what do any of us know? However, we do know that the Padres are in on him. I mean, the Padres have as good a chance as any. They are in on him. They are probably one of the finalists, whatever that number is for whether it's 3 or a few more for the finalist clubs. So they're you know, probably who knows what they're doing? Are they waiting by their phone? Are they watching Twitter? Are they watching his Instagram to see if it shows up and he's in uniform? I think also it's kind of cool how they did let teams know they were out.
Yeah.
So I do wonder if there's a respect thing there too, where his decision gets made somewhat early-ish in this window to allow teams to kind of try to make some other moves if they can.
I think that could be the case. Now, keep in mind, he has a deadline, so it's a
the
day.
23rd.
Yeah, it's a day after tomorrow, or a week after tomorrow.
Yeah.
Is the very, very longest.
And he can use it all if he wants.
He can, and it's still not that long, right? It's a week, but more likely, thoughtfully, you would expect Roki Sasaki to not leave the other teams hanging too long and be like, everyone's on pins and needles.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, like if he's got his decision made, you might as well just announce it. And
yeah. Which brings us to the whole thing, the known unknown. We know that we don't know Roki Sasaki's process. We know that we don't know whether, for example, he came into the whole thing already with a team at the top of his list, and this entire week or the entire month has been change my mind. You know, it's been, we're going to go through this, we're going to do all the due diligence, but really the exercise is, can anyone take me off this perch of where I've already started and where I plan to be?
yeah, I mean, that's going to be the question. I don't know if we'll ever know. You know, we'll see kind of what he allows to come out after he signs with whatever team he does about the decision. I have a feeling that we'll never know, because it will look kind of disrespectful to the other teams if you end up saying it was always this team. I just kind of went on some other, you know, trips for the fun of it, you know, or whatever. So, and I think could very well be what you just said. You know, maybe he did have a team in mind, but that doesn't mean that that's your final answer. Like, you go and you check out the other teams, and maybe someone changes your mind, or maybe you're so enthralled by something or other that you decide to pursue it a little bit more in that other direction. I really wonder if he hasn't made his decision. Like, I'm so curious. I wish I was a fly on the wall to know if he's sitting there with some pros and cons and a whiteboard, and you know, if that's still happening and he's still trying to figure it out. But I tend to think he probably knows. There was such pushback against the Dodgers already having a handshake deal in place by his agent that I do think they have to give the respect of it, looking at least. Whether or not he signs with the Dodgers, we'll see. But if he does, you got to wonder if that was the team all along. But Joel, his agent, did push back against that heavily, that there was a handshake deal already in place a month ago.
I'm not going to lie to y'all. If there's a preconceived deal, I think it's here. I don't think it's L.A. I think it's here. Roki Sasaki was shown in a Padres cap 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, the recruitment of this young man it extends beyond the decade of the 2020s. Okay, that's how long A.J. Preller has been on this train. He's known about this young man. He's followed him from day dot. I mean, he truly has. And, I can never get out of my mind name-dropping Roki Sasaki at Peter Seidler's Celebration of Life. It was just like, you don't do that unless there's something real there. There's been, and that was back in 2023, early 20. So there's so much history here. Now, anything could be. Again, this is what we call a known unknown. All we know is that we don't know. Mm-hmm. So theoretically, LA could have had all the advantages. Theoretically, he could have started with a Padres mindset and then LA wooed him across the line. It could be that Toronto woos him across the line with a completely different pitch, saying you get to be this country's champion. Never mind this club or this city. You will be the champion of Canada if you come here.
And I read another report about how Toronto has a big Japan culture there. Like that there's, a big contingency there that would support obviously the rest of the country as well. But, that maybe he would feel at home with a little bit, but he's obviously going to have that in LA. You can find that in San Diego as well. But there are draws I wonder about to Toronto that makes it interesting as like being in the top three, unless it's just kind of one of those that you throw in to kind of throw everybody off. I don't know, but I would think that the way that they've gone about this process, there is a respect to it. And that if Toronto is being named as a top three, he's really seriously looking at Toronto, or at least he has been for the Blue Jays. But if you didn't hear our conversation, I think it was at 11, we got a lot into Roki Sasaki's history and how he was growing up and what sorts of things happen in his life that maybe shaped him into who he is. So go back and listen to that, because it kind of lends a little perspective based on this article in the Athletic that we learned a lot about him while reading. But the Padres have a good shot. Look, he calls Yu Darvish his godfather. Mm-hmm. It is his mentor. He has idolized Yu Darvish and looked up to him his whole life. He marches to the beat of his own drum. He doesn't always do what everybody in Japan did. He didn't go to the private schools there that most other big superstar baseball players went to, like Ohtani. He made his own decisions for himself. He can definitely be developed in San Diego with Ruben Niebla. He can definitely have the ability to be the guy here and to get marketing, the types of marketing deals that maybe he would hope would come with his career at some point. And he can be part of what would be a competitive winning team, So those are some of the pros. And I'm not saying that Toronto and the LA can't also list their pros, because they can, but it would make sense for him to come to San Diego as much as it could for him to make any kind of decision right now.
Yeah. And again, when we talk about, here we are, San Diego's #1 sports station, talking about Roki Sasaki. We are the home of the Padres. We are going to be presenting the most favorable narrative for Roki Sasaki to come to San Diego. Do I think that LA has a perfectly good pitch? Do I think that there's every
They've got great
logical
reasons as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Every logical
Absolutely.
reason to sign in LA? And I truly do believe, I guess I get how we're all using the Jays as a little bit of a punching bag here, and maybe Roki will. Maybe they'll come in third and it'll be the same old story. Like, hey, would you like to pitch, hand your money to a busted arm reliever instead? Because nobody good's taking your money up there in Toronto. But I do believe there's an absolutely compelling case that the Toronto Blue Jays can offer to Roki Sasaki, including their facility, including their culture.
Their development at the major league level is very good for pitching.
It really is. So, and much like San Diego, it's the we need you, man. Like, it's not just that, like, it'll be cool to have you. With LA, no matter what they say, and of course I'm sure they would say everything, we believe you'll be the best pitcher in the history of the world. We think you'll be the #1 Dodger of all time. La, 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 la. Like, come on, man. Shohei's right there. Yamamoto's right there. Mookie's right there. Freddie's right there. Just go down the list. You're going to be the 7th or 8th most compelling person on the Los Angeles Dodgers. They will win with you. They will win without you. It's just a matter of, do you want to jump on the LA train Is that his mentality? I just want to jump on a train. I just want to be with Ohtani. I just want to be with Yamo. I just want to scoop titles early in my career, and then maybe the Dodgers will pay me the way that they paid everyone else. I mean, sure. Why not? Why not do that? I get it, but it's a really compelling argument, Annie, I think, to say you can come to this city, San Diego. We are right there with LA. We are right there. Here's the difference. Our weather is better. Our traffic is less. Your beach access is greater. Your exposure to the media is going to be 7 to 9 times less here than it will be in Los Angeles. The pressure on you is going to be 7 to 9 times less than it is on Los Angeles. But if you take us over the top, you will have done something that's never been done in the history of Major League Baseball. Bring a championship in Major League Baseball to the city of San Diego. Toronto's won 2. The Dodgers have won plenty. It's never happened here. And you can be the person that's remembered forever. Like, you can be a star in LA. You can be a legend in San Diego. It's kind of the Pedro Martinez thing. Like, yeah, you could go pitch in New York and make money. You could go win a title for Boston and break the curse, and you'll be revered forever.
Yeah, and maybe that's the pitch that they gave him. I don't know. But, if you're Roki Sasaki, I think that you're going to have confidence in yourself that I think he wants to be a great player no matter where he is, and so what are your priorities? Where do you think that you can develop the best? Where do you think that the attention and care, and it sounds like he had teams essentially do homework talking about how they would develop him in certain ways, so what kind of offerings are there? I think the Padres definitely have a competitive argument, but probably so do the Dodgers and the Blue Jays do too. So I think it's just so hard to know what truly matters or makes a decision, or does he really bond with someone over someone else, or does he see more opportunity in terms of his career as a whole somewhere versus another? Like, it's hard to know really what he's thinking.
Let's take a timeout. When we come back, if you missed it earlier, you'll hear it next. Lindsay Horan, the 14th person ever to wear the captain's armband for the U.S. women's national team. She led the USWNT to gold in the Paris Olympics, and she'll be here in February with the U.S. women's national team for the She Believes Cup, playing against Japan on February 26th. You'll hear our conversation from the 10 a.m. hour with Lindsay Horan right after this break. Annie and Elsten, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 118 on the Fan. Welcome back. It's the Annie and Elsten program here with you. We are rolling until 2 o'clock. Well, earlier this morning, in advance of the She Believes Cup, we had the opportunity to call out all the way to Lyon, France, to talk to the captain of the U.S. women's national team. If you missed this 10:30 interview, here it is for you at 118 on the Fan. Our next guest, she and the U.S. women's national team will be appearing here in San Diego February 26th in the final doubleheader night of the She Believes Cup, taking on Japan at Snapdragon Stadium at 7:35. For all we know, it'll be the match that'll decide the whole thing. It's more likely than not that it will be an incredible doubleheader night of soccer. Tickets are available at ussoccer.com for the She Believes Cup. We go out to Lyon, France, and we are joined by the 14th woman to wear the captain's armband for the U.S. women's national team. Lindsay Horan is our guest on Annie and Elsten. Lindsay, Craig Elsten, Annie Halbron here. Really appreciate you taking a few minutes to join us from all the way in France. Appreciate you.
No, thank you very much for having me.
Well, let's get into it. I want to just start right there. You're one of so few people in history to be able to say, I am the captain of the U.S. women's national team. What does that mean personally to you when you reflect upon it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a huge honor. I think every time I step out to the field, walking out with the team, and about to sing the national anthem, it's one of those moments that you sit and reflect back to when you were a little girl, dreaming of moments like this, not only just playing for the national team, but, being captain is like nothing else. So huge honor. I'm obviously so grateful, and whatever I can do to help the team.
Lindsay, your Olympic coach, Emma Hayes, she talked after you guys won the gold about how much you do off the field, your conversations with teammates, speaking up when you need to. You had to make hard decisions about how you guys spent time preparing and how you spent time in Paris during the Olympics. She said you were firm but fair. What does that mean to you to get the gold in Paris, especially playing there for so long and having the relationship that you do with the city and with France? How do you look at all the hard work that went into it and reflect on all that you achieved?
Yeah, it's crazy. We keep winning things in France, so I really like it here. But yeah, I think it's obviously, it was a huge accomplishment for our team. Getting back on that podium and winning a gold medal, since it had been a few cycles since that had been done. But I think more so just because how the team came together. Obviously, it was a difficult year, not completely having all the pieces together, waiting for Emma to arrive and having her doing things behind the scenes. But then, she steps foot in our environment, and the things that she did and the things that we did as a team to put ourselves in the best position possible to go out and win that thing. I think that's what, is the most important thing to take away. Our team really came together and did everything for each other. So, remarkable journey and experience for all of us.
Yeah, and when you speak about the journey, Lindsay, there were so many remarkable matches that came down to classical moments, and I think American fans found out about the Trident and about what you guys can do with that forward line, and how dynamic it is, how creative and spectacular it can be in moments that require bravery, that require getting in there. What do you think this team proved to itself by going through the journey you did and finding results the way you did?
Yeah, I think this is what we kept saying throughout the entire tournament, and even beforehand, was just trusting the process and enjoying the journey along the way. I think we knew that not everything was going to be perfect, not the way that we play, not the things that we did. But, what were the things that we can control? What were the little things that we could get done in the minimal amount of time we had to prepare, for each game? And also, most professionals say this, but taking each game at a time. I think we weren't too forward thinking in terms of later on in the tournament. as we were preparing the first game, we're thinking about the first game. We're not thinking about anything else. And I think that was really great. I think there were a lot of team talks, and there was a lot of individual stuff that we did to put ourselves in the best place possible to go out and win, but also enjoy it at the same time. And I think, we speak about some of the best players in the world, and some of my teammates are up there, and how, they spoke about the journey, that they actually enjoyed it, including myself. I think it's hard. Like a tournament setting is really, really hard. And a lot of the time it's not the most enjoyable thing, as many people probably don't know, but I can say firsthand that it was a very enjoyable experience.
Yeah, it's really cool that you get to look back now and think of it as an enjoyable experience and as something that was fun, because like you said, not every athlete gets to do that after achieving something so great. I have to ask you about this, Lindsay. Now, you will be coming to San Diego for the She Believes Cup in February, and I think this will be the first time you're reuniting with your husband, Tyler Heaps, who's the sporting director at SDFC, since you guys got married in December of 2024. And when I was reading about your wedding, you had a bride versus groom soccer match the day, I don't know if it was the day before you got married. Okay, I need to know everything. I mean, how did you pick your team? Were they all teammates? Who won? What was it? What were the stakes? Everything that went on with that is where I want to go.
Well, as you guys probably all know, I obviously won. We had a couple of professional athletes come out and play. A local indoor facility allowed us to come in, and I think we had a good 20, 25 people out there, which was really cool. Some amateurs as well, but including Tyler. No, I'm kidding. He was okay, but we called it the Ferguson Footy Derby. That's my dog, and we got jerseys and everything made by Adidas. We made it as professional as possible. And we did a snake draft, so I got the first overall pick. I don't know if I'm allowed to say.
Fair.
And we went along like that. So it was really cool. But if anyone knows me well, football was going to be involved in this wedding. So as it was.
That's fantastic.
We're talking to the captain of the U.S. women's national team, Lindsay Horan, here, Annie and Elsten on The Fan. And, Lindsay, you're a trailblazer in your career. You had an opportunity to go scholarship to college to a top program. You instead decided to go sign in France and play at PSG. You spent 6 years in NWSL. You went back. Now you're with Olympique Lyon. You're there now. You're killing it. Team's in first. You're doing great, amazing season. Kind of a simple question. What do you love and enjoy about living and playing in France?
Honestly, it's a lot of it is football related for me. I think, I know our careers are short. They seem long at points, but they are short, and I want to make the most of it. And that means, being the best player that I can be, and I want to be challenged as much as possible. So, when I was making my decision to come back, I looked at the caliber of players that are here and who I would be playing with and training with every single day. And I think that's what really drew me to it. That's what continues to keep me so happy, is I love the environment and the culture here, surrounded by football. And again, I obviously like my life outside. I'm a very independent person. I think it was nice last year because I had my husband with me, but he's left me for San Diego to be with you guys. But that's okay, because he's doing big, great things there, and I can't wait to be the biggest San Diego FC supporter.
That's great. That is going to be a lot of fun. And the She Believes Cup, for anyone who doesn't know about it, Lindsay, how competitive does that get? What kind of tournament is that? And you guys are facing Japan, which is typically a very tough opponent. So what are you looking ahead to there?
Yeah, I think anytime that we host the She Believes, it's obviously it's very important for us to bring these kind of opponents that you see coming to this one coming up. And it's been like that, for the course of the years that we've held the She Believes Cup. So it's actually become a very, competitive tournament, which is something that, we might not get this summer because we don't have the Euros like the European teams. So having competitions like this and playing against opponents like this is crucial for us in our development. And, for these next years leading up to the next World Cup, it's exactly what we need. And like you said, we're playing Japan and in San Diego. So for anyone in San Diego, this will be a really tough matchup. They're such a quality side and gave us some big problems during the Olympics and have some really bright and shining players there. So it's going to be such an exciting game and a cool place to play it.
Now, Lindsay, you have some history at Snapdragon Stadium, including last March 10th, and I watched it back again today. Just a gorgeous header in the run of play. Late in the first half, I believe it was at the start of stoppage time, which was the goal in a 1-0 win over Brazil. So certainly some more experiences here. I know it was pretty rainy here one time the U.S. women's team came. But what are your thoughts on just good vibes coming back to San Diego?
Yeah, let's just hope it's not rainy like that again. Let's hope more for the Gold Cup, the final game. But really good vibes. Obviously, I think San Diego's a great place to play, and I think the atmosphere and the fan base there is really cool. So I hope that we can bring a great home crowd and hopefully sell out. And I guess that's my ask of the U.S. fans is we need to keep raising the bar for that and help us, because we can have a 12th man out there helping us win.
Well, when you get the San Diego Wave FC fans behind you, you're going to have a packed house. And it's the last thing I'll ask you before we let you go. We appreciate so much of your time, but I have to ask on behalf of all of our great San Diego fans. Tyler's here. We've got a lovely professional club here.
It's great weather here. I don't know if you know.
Almost all the time. I know that one day. Please ignore that one day. It's almost always beautiful here. I mean, I'm not. Leon is wonderful, but I mean, maybe someday.
Maybe someday. I have nothing to give away at this point because I still have a contract here, but it's obviously very intriguing at points being my husband there and obviously the fan base and such a beautiful place to play and live. So it's not completely out of the question in the future, but I'm very content here right now.
Totally understand.
Had to make the pitch.
Yeah, not going to put the cart in front of the horse.
Sorry to disappoint.
No. It's a mustard seed of hope. Lindsay, you plant and then you see, can something grow over time?
Exactly.
But no, we appreciate you so much. Thank you for your generosity. Can't wait to see Team USA in action. I get the chance often to be announcing the international soccer at Snapdragon, and it's always such a thrill to see the women's team come through, and it's a thrill for us to get the chance to chat with you. Best of luck in the rest of the season in Leon, and we look forward to seeing you here in San Diego.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Awesome to catch up with Lindsay Horan, the captain of the U.S. women's national team, a little bit earlier in today's show.
Yeah, it was fun to talk to her, and very cool that she'll be here in February. It seems like she's living out quite a few dreams over there in France.
She is, but I'm telling you, come on. This contract ends. Come on over.
I think it's very enticing when your husband, who she's already said she doesn't really want a long-distance relationship, when your husband plays in sunny San Diego and there's a team right here waiting, seems like it would be a good fit.
Perfect fit. Let's make it happen. All right. We're going to take our last time out of the program today. We remain in the waiting room while we played that interview for you. Roki Sasaki did not sign.
Sasaki's going to sign. Can you imagine? He's going to sign during Scrabies. He's going to sign in Scrabistan. Okay. First I was thinking Sam Levitt's show. He'll sign during Sam. But I am also hoping for Scrabistan now.
Hoping for Scrabistan.
Yeah.
So he can just pull out his will. That's just great,
That's
everybody.
Just great. Well, no, I mean, maybe Sasaki's coming to the Padres.
Sure.
I want to hear Scraby kind of freak out a little.
That would be pretty fun. That would be pretty fun. Just see his hair light on fire.
Yes.
It's just everything spinning
and
everywhere
then
at once.
Like Braden, they run their own shows, so he's got to make sure, is everything going, he's got to double, triple check.
Correct.
His phone's going to be blowing up.
Yeah, he's just going to see the chat go into hyperspeed. It's just flying by. What's going on? What's happening? This is my daily gripe.
He's going to be in the middle of his gripe. He's going to be in the middle of his gripe, and the news is going to break. He's going to have to change his gripe.
New gripe. Why'd you have to break it during my show?
Yeah. Couldn't you have waited 10 more minutes for Sammy?
Well, we don't have to wait any longer to open up the phones for Ask Us Anything. First chance to talk to the whole show reunited once again for a while. 833-288-0973. We are opening up the lines now. 833-288-0973. If you give us a ring between now and 1:50 p.m., 17 minutes, long, wide open window for you here. Give us a ring. We will put you on hold. We'll bring you up on the air, and we'll get you before the show's over. All we ask is that you have a question ready to ask the program. Doesn't have to be about sports. Can be about anything. We'll do Ask Us Anything. 833-288-0973. Give us a ring. We take your call when we're done here. Annie and Elsten, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Wonderful to be back with you. Always great to be here. Annie and Elsten wrapping things up today. Almost out of the waiting room today. Then it'll be Gwen and Chris's turn to keep refreshing the social media sites.
And then we go back in the waiting room.
And then we go back in the waiting room at 10.
That's why I think it's like the Beetlejuice waiting room. We're just in there forever.
Just
I'm
stay.
sure it's some joke about purgatory in that movie, but that's just why we're just kind of sitting there. Everybody's got something wrong with them, how they died.
Yeah.
Craig, why is your head so small? And he's missing her entire head because she got like a shark attack or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
I just watched that remake the other day. Or the second one.
The second one, Beetlejuice?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet.
I watched it over the break. It was pretty good. It was all right. Michael Keaton does a good job.
Yes.
They have some of the old actors in there, too, with the exception of Alec Baldwin and who was his wife in the first one. They're not in it, the original group. But, the family that moved in the first one, right, the daughter, she's in it, and the mom's in it, and Michael Keaton's in it. And then a couple other people, too. It's not bad. It's pretty good. It was solid. It was a solid flick, if you will. I tell Craig I watched that golf league yesterday.
I caught a little of that, too.
I thought it was kind of cool.
It is kind of cool. And now that I see, too, when they're... when does the greens change a little?
Yeah. They move per hole.
Yeah, exactly. But Tiger, they didn't do too well.
They got smoked.
Right, they got
by
smoked.
the LA whatever.
But
LAGC.
Now that I can see the arena and people are in it and the whole simulation thing, I do think it is pretty cool. I don't know that I'd watch it the whole way through every week, but the technology is pretty cool.
You can definitely have it on the background.
Yeah, exactly.
Every Tuesday, if it was every night, people would lose interest.
Exactly,
Every
but once
Tuesday,
a week.
yeah, it's
and
not
he comes out
bad.
to Eye of the Tiger, and it's there was cool elements to it.
It made golf like a lot of other sports. The crowd,
right,
there was some
right.
booing and there was cheering, and then Thigala was trying to putt, and the crowd noise was getting loud, kind of rat him a little bit. So from that standpoint, I thought it was pretty entertaining. Plus, you get to see the personalities of these guys. They're not super locked in. They still want to win. You could tell their competitive juices are going, but they're it'd be like I was telling Craig, it'd be going to the golf course with your buddies, right? Everybody's having a good time, but they still want to win. But it's pretty cool. I thought it was entertaining.
I can't wait to see it. It's just not matched up for me. It's 2 weeks old. Soccer's overtime is 2 weeks old. The show is kind of on while the game is on.
Yeah, Tuesday nights.
Yeah, and I just haven't lined it up yet, but I know I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy it nonetheless. We continue forward. We've got 8 more minutes if you want to call the show. 833-288-0973. That's the number. Dial us now. 833-288-0973 as we hit the bumper and head to the thumper. All righty then. 833-288-0973 is the number to use. You have 8 minutes to call the show. Jim in Chula Vista, he called in. He was on hold. Now he's on the air. Hi, Jim. Thanks for calling and giving us a minute. Ask us anything.
Well, guys, do you think when Klaus Meine and the Scorpions are in San Diego, they listen to 97.3 The Fan to get the results of the Bundesliga?
I think they'd be
possible.
insulted that so many of us are like, who, the Scorpions? What do they sing?
I know.
But maybe.
Just checking in on the sports fix to see if we give some Bundesliga scores. That's a great... Jim,
Great
I like
question.
that. That was a meta call to
Well
the
done.
show. Integrating past topics, making us laugh, putting a smile on our face. 60 years of a band is wild.
But is it the same people still in it?
It's the same singer and guitarist.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I do believe they probably put on a great show. I'd go see them if
They've
I
got
won
plenty
tickets.
of practice.
Yeah.
I mean,
You've got to be still in decent physical shape, or they've got to work around the fact that
Yes.
you're not to do a show.
No, are you kidding?
That's a lot of effort.
You could
you're
trip and
exerting.
fall.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not
yeah.
even kidding. You can trip and fall. I hope they're not jumping off speakers and stuff, because that would be really funny at 76. But no, I mean, literally, Monday I read the liner and then I was like, wait, 60 years of Scorpions? Come on. It can't
guess.
possibly be. But it is. It is.
So did they start the band when they were like 15?
They did.
Okay, yeah.
They started when they
Yeah.
were like 16, 17 years
Okay.
old. So now they're in their late 70s.
Wow.
And still
kicking.
rocking like a hurricane.
Yeah.
Can't wait for Blink-182 to
Those
do
winds
that.
of change. They just roll along with them.
Indeed. Keeping in our not quite southernmost, but almost southernmost city, here's Eric in Chula Vista. Hi, Eric. Welcome to the air. Ask us anything.
Hi guys, I just have a comment about the Sasaki deal.
Okay.
I think an angle they could use to maybe get him is, from what I see and hear from Dodger fans, they basically, when they picked up Machado and Darvish, they basically blamed them for not winning the World Series. So they can flip it on them and say, hey, you know what? If you go to the Dodgers and you don't win a World Series, you are going to be the blame for not winning a World Series. Once you come to San Diego and get over the top.
Maybe it was part of their pitch meeting. I don't
That's
know.
right.
I think they can't make any more pitches. I think that
Pitches
the
are
windows
done.
is closed. The window is closed. But we'll maybe one day find out that's
They reached their pitch count, 85
Yeah,
pitches.
they
Little league pitch count. Can't pitch the next 4 days.
They're like, but wait, I just have one more. Let me send one more text. No.
No,
Nope.
stop it.
They're
Don't double
also- they're
text.
on a-
Don't double text.
Just keep sending memes.
Never
the
never
three
double
dots
text.
are showing, but no one's writing back.
Never
You know?
double text.
AJ
Listen up,
just keeps
Sushi
sending
Sam.
him that meme of the guy at the rainy window
Yeah.
looking through just like,
Straight Sam.
what are you... What are
Don't
you-
double texting Sam.
Oh, Sam.
Ah, it's hilarious.
Oh, Sam. Sam got dapped up by Miles Bird.
And a Gwek in a matter of 35 seconds.
So wild.
Then he tapped up Jamal Franklin.
Here's Don in Escondido. Hi, Don. Thanks for calling in and giving us a minute of your time. Ask us anything.
Hey, guys, you probably already touched on the subject, but what about A.J. Brown reading a book on the sideline during the game, during the Eagles game?
Wasn't he reading the book of one of his teammates or something?
No, it's like a self-help book.
Yeah,
it was a
yeah.
self-help book. I saw this.
I missed this. I'm sorry, guys.
I saw it in
I
an
saw
athletic
it, but I
newsletter
didn't see
today.
what it was.
Hang on, I'm going to get it for you. Which one did I read? I think it was The Pulse. Let's go.
He was reading Inner Excellence by Jim Murphy.
There you go.
Well,
So check this out. Here's the story behind this, thanks to the Athletic Pulse newsletter, which
Okay.
you can subscribe to for free if you want. Says you have undoubtedly seen the image of Eagles wideout A.J. Brown reading a self-help book on the sidelines during Philly's wild card win over the Packers. The story behind the book, its author, and how it reached Brown is even more alluring. Jim Murphy wrote Inner Excellence way back in 2009, a 300-page book that had moderate success. Murphy was nearly $100,000 in debt when the book hit shelves.
oh, wow.
For years, he has not made his living as an author, but instead as a mental skills guru working with pro golfers.
Oh, that's cool.
The book allowed him entry into the field. It was a solid career path. Then it pops up on the Fox cameras over the weekend, and his legacy has changed instantly. As of last night, nearly 5,000 people had the overnight #1 Amazon bestseller on their Goodreads Want to Read list.
Well, I just went to go drop it in my cart on Amazon, and it is out of stock.
Yep.
No way.
Here's the thing. Prior to Sunday, the number of people who had it in their Want to Read list was zero.
Oh, God.
It was zero.
That's actually a really cool story. Now he's going to write another book on how you like excellence doesn't always come immediately.
Right.
Success doesn't always come immediately.
Apparently he was a pitcher.
Was it? I don't know. But AJ Brown said it, I think in an Instagram post, he said, this game is 90% mental and 10% physical for me. I bring it to every game and I read it between each drive. I use it to refocus and lock in despite what may transpire in the game, good or bad. I mean, I'm fine. I don't hate. Do what works for you, buddy.
San Diego Padres product, AJ Brown. We have the rights to his baseball rights.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
I think was he drafted by the Padres?
Oh.
Yeah, he was
Hey.
a baseball player.
There you go.
He wanted to come back and play.
Oh, he was.
I'm pretty sure the Padres.
It was the Padres.
Yeah, I don't because sometimes they trade that around. Like I don't know if the Padres have traded his rights somewhere else.
afford him?
But found your left fielder. He's got nothing to do after the football
He's
season.
athletic and rangy.
Yeah, guy can
May
rake.
not
apparently.
be able to hit a curveball. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the Padres still own his rights if he comes back to baseball.
Well, super fun question, Don. Thank you for bringing that up. That was a good kicker story.
Wait. Rather than leave baseball behind for good, Brown agreed to a unique professional baseball contract with the Padres that temporarily allowed him the best of both worlds, not to mention a nifty fiscal loophole in a pre-NIL society. The terms: the Browns would still retain his amateur football status with the Rebels while in college, but he would also receive periodic signing bonus payments from the Padres totaling $100,000 under the condition that he annually show up at Peoria Sports Complex for about 2 days each year after school let out. Wow.
He said last year, and
no.
he said last year or 2 years
I don't
ago,
know,
like he
though.
wanted to give it a shot again. I'd love to see him come out. That Russell Wilson, the
Yes.
Rangers traded for him.
Oh, I remember that.
And they brought him in to do some. It'd be cool to have AJ Brown go take some hacks in Peoria.
Mm-hmm.
I
That'd be
think players
cool.
would
That'd
love
be cool.
that, actually.
Russell couldn't hit.
Yeah. Throw him in a spring training game. Let him play. He's already part of your organization. If he wants to play baseball, sign him up.
Let Russ cook, just not there.
No, don't let Russ cook. Russ can't cook anymore.
I mean,
anyway.
the Eagles are, they're still in the playoffs.
Not for long. Once the Rams,
Even if they make the Super
knock him
Bowl and
out.
win, he's got a week and a half off. Then go to Peoria.
Go to Peoria in a couple days.
Yeah.
It's not like he's gonna be over. He's gonna be in shape. You don't have to run polls to get into shape.
He goes and he hits for 2 days.
Let
and
him
he
hit,
goes back.
collect the check, and then
Gets
go
a
home.
kid little check, right?
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I'd
That's
love to see
awesome.
AJ Brown. I'd buy an AJ Brown Padres jersey.
There was
Would you
another
really?
story along these lines that was last
Easy
week. I remember
Brossow
it was
Star
maybe it
Wars
was the one
jersey
Adam
guy.
Paul says in the chat. The A's had the Cardinals quarterback. I don't know. It wasn't that. It was
Yeah,
a
the
whole
A's-
NIL. It was a whole thing about the same thing. But it wasn't I don't know.
Yeah, the A's still technically have the rights to Kyler Murray. If you wanted to play baseball, you'd have to go back to them. I don't know how long those last though. They last forever, or
Maybe up until the point where you'd be Rule 5 eligible, right?
Right,
Like you can
probably.
keep someone on a non-40-man roster for a
AJ
certain amount
Preller,
of days.
call in, help us out.
go get AJ Brown just for
It's
fun.
not like you're busy. You've already made your pitch.
That's right. You're on a
You
pitch
can't
count.
sign any international guys because you got to wait on Roki. So
I mean, he's the ultimate guy in the waiting room.
yeah.
Call the Eagles.
You know he's probably going crazy too. Unless you know you're getting Roki Sasaki and then you're like sitting back, just waiting for the news to come in. But otherwise, he can't sign anyone that he would normally sign.
Right.
Could you imagine? This is AJ Preller flies to Philly to ask the Eagles permission to have AJ Brown play for a couple months. That'd be awesome.
I really do wonder, trying to put myself into his mind space. I feel like even if you left the meeting and Joel Wolf gave you the wink,
Thumbs up.
hey, we'll be seeing you in a couple days. The whole thing. You had this big hug with Roki, and then you walk back in the office and you's like, I think we really got him.
Oh, yeah.
And then Wolf gave him the wink. The whole thing, even if all of that happened, wouldn't you even almost be more petrified today?
Especially in the day and age of, it's always been in sports. Nothing is ever official until there is pen to paper. And even then, it's not always official. But in this case, you would need this guy to sign pen to paper and feel really good about it.
And then never let him leave Petco Park.
Yeah.
You have to stay here for at least 2 weeks. Enjoy the rodeo.
Yeah. Just the mental pressure not to keep texting him. Hey, Roki. Hey, Roki.
One more thing I thought about. One more thing. Okay?
Don't double text.
Hey, Roki. Hey, Roki.
It's like rule number 1.
Just wanted to say one more time, Roki.
Stop it.
How happy I am to see you.
Stop it.
Sending him one more.
You gotta go live
sending
your
him
life.
another jersey.
Yeah.
Sending him another hat.
No,
anything you want from the gift shop.
Stuffed animal.
Padres got to move on and act like they're living their own life, doing
Right,
their own
right,
thing.
right.
Post on Instagram. See, we're good without you, just in case.
Brown
Let
and
them come
yellow.
cover
we
bags.
saw how all the players followed him on Instagram,
Oh,
which the other team's
I'm
players
sure
I'm sure
all
follow
the
him
other
too.
guys
Are they
do the same
DMing
thing.
him? Are they like, by the
Yes.
way,
For sure
we'll take you to this
someone
great
is.
restaurant.
Yeah. Musco
Padres.
was like, I will show you the ropes, brother.
right.
You will be amazed.
Let's go like coffee for life on me.
Right.
Well, if that's the case, definitely got to sign in San Diego.
In that case. All right. That's
His boys
it for...
with Darvish were acting like they're sliding into his DMs. Anybody contacting him, it's you, probably.
Yeah.
That's it for today's show. Roki, I think it would be a really cool thing for you to sign with the San Diego Padres at some point between now and tomorrow's show. But otherwise, we will be back in the waiting room with you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Still waiting on this young man's decision. Also tomorrow, very excited, it is the San Diego Mojo home opener tomorrow night at Viejas Arena, and Ronica Stone second-year Mojo player and center blocker, will be along to chat with us. So looking forward to it. Andy, great to see you again. Great to be back.
Great to be back. Great to see everybody and hear everybody again as well.
For Annie Heilbrunn and Braden Soprenet, I'm Craig Elsten. Thank you so much for making us a small part of your day. Stay tuned. Gwen and Chris